Thank you. place. An absolutely legendary place. A place where the difference between victory and defeat lies at the barest margin of what your four tyres are able to hold in terms of grip. Welcome to arguably the greatest street circuit the world has ever seen. It's Mountain Week here with the Australian Sim Racing Group. We're here at Mount Panorama, and this is your opener here. Your Moza Racing Porsche Pro Invitational as we knock on the door of halfway and jump into the second half of the season. I'm Jake Sperry. Zach Caban is alongside with me for today's action. Jay Kennedy is in production for this. This is the great Australian Sim Racing Week, and time again, when we come here, Zach, we know and we understand this is where legends are made.
100%. And one of the great things about what we do here is we get to add our own little piece to the legend of the circuit. Jake, good evening to you. Good evening, everybody. What a week. And for us to be the entree to Sunday's main course and everything that will follow in between. We are the curtain raiser to what is an enormous 3 days for our colleagues, Stephen Clark and Scott Rankin, come Friday night. It's a pleasure to be here and to lead it off. You mentioned this circuit being a legendary one, and it's not the first legendary circuit that we've been to this season, mate, but it is certainly the first one that all Australians become familiar with when they start their journey as a fan in the world of motorsport. As you said, halfway mark of the season and the first of 3 consecutive rounds on Australian soil now to kickstart the second half of the campaign. Very home-friendly back half of the season, and a little tweak to the race distance tonight, ladies and gentlemen, of the second race in particular, but we'll get to that in a few moments' time. And this run of 5 rounds in the space of 11 weeks. This is the midway point of that as well. There is one man to catch and one man only. We'll go through the championship points in just a moment, Jake. But this is where legends are born. Someone will add their name to that rich history tonight. One of the things I like about this circuit, mate, apart from the fact that I have a deep love for it, considering that I spent 9 years of my teen into early adult life living in that part of the world, is that it's one of those circuits that remains grandiose. It's one of those circuits that we only get to use only a few times a year because it's not necessarily public. It's not necessarily a street course per se. It's public road. So it's more like your back roads more than anything else. We're not going through the main streets of Bathurst. We're in the southern part of Bathurst, quite frankly. There are the championship points for you. Damon Woods on top and well clear. I'll come back to that point in just a moment, Jake. There's so much I could say about Mount Panorama. I absolutely love it, as do all of our drivers. We're in for a hell of a night here. But it's been a hell of a start of the season for the man at the top of the timesheets and the top of the points table at the moment. He is in blistering form. And as I said, after the 6th round of the season, only a fortnight ago, I feel as though he's already got one hand on the title.
Yeah, he's just been walking here and he's just been thundering up with win after win after win. Zach Rattray-White found enough to jump himself back to second ahead of Zach Kerr and Rick Kuznetsov. Both Vermilion Esports cars now tied on points on 947. Marina Morella and Seth Brown making 3 Eclipse cars inside the top 6. 4 if you count Damon Woods and his technical partnership. Then as he goes with 883 and 850 with Dean Mackay leading 3 OPRX Gamma Flare cars. Then with Dylan Shepherd and Miles Burgess inside the top 10. Tom Bewley is also tied on points. He's on 751 in 8th place. So wherever you may be watching here, of course, be it on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Kick, or on Speed Cafe for all of the action that has been going through, you don't need a demonstration of what Mount Panorama is as a circuit, but Zach will give it to you anyway because this is one of the few places in the world where every corner sells its story.
100%. 6.213 kilometres, or as the Imperial system would tell you, 3.861 miles. 23 turns, and we don't refer to them by number terribly often, mate. They've all got their own unique name. Of course, the chase We arrived there off the back of going through the kink, the fastest point in Australian motorsport, at the end of Conrod Straight. One thing about this circuit, you very much work hard for your overtakes around here, particularly with the view to the fact that much of the circuit, once you leave turn 2 at Griffin's Bend, all the way up over Skyline and down almost to Forest Elbow, it's essentially a one-line groove, unless you want to be bold and brave. And we've seen a few really hairy moments in the past that have added to the legend of the circuit, quite frankly. It's amazing how we keep coming back to that point. But yes, Hell Corner, it's hell for a reason. It'll be an absolute logjam on the opening lap. And of course, Murray's Corner. Very rare do we see an overtake for a race win on the final lap, on the final corner. Maybe that'll change tonight. Who knows? But your best bet is probably turn 21 and turn 22 there, the entry and exit of the chase.
Yeah, and that's going to be the key passing zone, as will the run up to Griffin's Bend at turn 2. You dance between the two straights and hope that you find what you need. Now, qualifying will be coming up in about 7.5 minutes' time. They will have about 20 minutes worth of that to go. Race 1 is going to be 7 laps, but critically, race 2 has been brought back to 17 laps out there overall, so just the 105 kilometres that will be run in reversal. I'll have an extra 10 laps to go and deal with. Dean Mackay, let's go on board then here for a lap, Zach, as we climb along the mountain straight and look over to that second corner of Griffin's Bend and really trying to say, okay, spot your braking zone on the left-hand side. 75 metres is about right because it's an uphill brake. And then I would say the most underrated corner on this circuit, the cutting.
Absolutely, 1 in 6th grade. And it sets you up for the run up across the top of the mountain. You bog it down, you botch the run out of there, and you're holding the pack up as you head up through, across the crest at the top of the hill, and then down through the Great. Watch them get perilously close to the wall there on the entry to Sulman Park and Reed Park, and then on down to McPhillamy. Expect trouble here at some point tonight if you get a little bit too greedy with the curb adjacent to the gravel trap there at Rock Skyline, and then down through the S's, the Dipper, the run towards the Elbow. As I said, a one-line groove down through here, and look at the ultra commitment from Dean Mackay, trying to complete a hot lap here to give himself a benchmark to work with for when we get into the qualifying session in a few moments' time. And then, Jake, the wide open spaces of Conrod Straight.
And you've got to love it. It feels like you're finally able to open up the taps and run with everything like you've got as if it's the Grand National. Fastest corner in Australian sim racing. The chase brings itself into play. Onto the brakes, the left and the right. The only ever addition to this circuit is that left-right chicane compared to what it was when it first opened in the 1930s. Murray's Corner then ends out the lap. You tiptoe it in, getting yourself through at about 125 kilometres an hour. And that is a lap around this place at a 2:05 set by Dean Mackay. We have got Damon Woods on top of the moment on a 1:59.9. There's one thing we have to say, Zach, and that is the stopwatch never lies.
No, that's exactly right, but that is scintillating. That is ultra impressive from Damon Woods. I mean, he's been the benchmark of the season, and that is another illustration as to why, ladies and gentlemen, a sub 2-minute lap around here, seldom do you see it, especially at a Porsche Cup car, as we pick up Harry Lawrence, who's sitting down in 30th at the moment. Look for him to work his way forward through qualifying and then through the racing as well. So let's go back and cover off a couple of things, because you talk about the addition to the circuit. That added 41 metres to the circuit. It was at the end of the Hardy 1000 in 1986 that the chase was introduced. They got it there ready for the arrival of the World Touring Car Championship. In fact, legend would have it that that was the reason, that the sole reason it was introduced in the first place, and not just because of the unfortunate fatality of Mike Bergman on Conrod Straight during the 86 1000. But yes, between 86 and 87, the addition of 41 metres of racetrack and 3 corners. And it has given us some extraordinary moments in the time since. Think Mark Winterbottom sailing through the gravel trap in 2007. Think Fabian's rollover in 2010. steeped in rich history and tradition. There's a story to every corner. But one of the things about this circuit as well, mate, you are on the limit. You are mega committed from first until last. You don't get too much time to rest on your laurels. And more than ever, right, especially with race one only being 40 laps, that places, I feel, and I'm interested in your thoughts, far more onus and importance on qualifying, in the sense that if you botch that, you're chasing your tail for the balance of the night, and 7 laps is not a hell of a lot of time to work your way forward.
And with a high risk of safety car out there today, it's going to be difficult if you have a bad qualifying to jump up. Harry Lawrence having to catch a big fishtail and over the grass to go and save it. And important for Harry tonight. And let's talk about Harry here, Zach, because he is on the bubble of the top 20, retaining their licence by 4 points over Stuart Ellis.
Exactly right. In fact, let's have a look at that lower half of the points table that you were talking about. Harry Lawrence, 572, Stuart Ellis, 568, Angus Lawford, 565, and Harry Veld, 557. And mind you, Ryan Jones is only 6 points above Harry Lawrence on 578. Byron Pearce has got a little bit of breathing space on 599 in 18th. So that little string of, what did I run through there, about 7 cars. Hayden Veld, 557. 548 for Lachlan Capel, who's not on the grid tonight. I want to come back to people that aren't on the grid tonight in a moment as well. Lockie Capel's one of them. I did see a memo pop up today saying that he couldn't race tonight. And Simon Mesimo on 527. 6 rounds to go. What have we got? 13 races within that. Plenty of time for that to shake and stir a little bit. But yes, if you're Harry Lawrence, you'd be feeling a little bit vulnerable at the moment, particularly based on current practice positions. Here's Jed Van Hammett. We mentioned that Lockie Cable's not on the grid, mate. Also, shout out to Corey Lazarus. You may have seen through his socials, ladies and gentlemen. I've certainly shared it on mine. He dropped into the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club after a Porsche Cup race last Thursday night, mate, to announce that due to a change in work circumstances for him, something has to give in his lifestyle. And unfortunately, after 4.5 wonderful years and huge success in sim racing circles, the whole rig is up for sale. So, Corey, we've loved everything you've ever brought to the table, mate. All the very best. We can't wait to see somewhere down the track you back in these corridors. And, of course, as I said to you privately and on air last week, we'll catch up for a cold one at some point, because he's only up the road in Brisbane and I'm in Ipswich, for those of you that are trying to join the pieces of the puzzle there. That run out of hell corner for the 73 just now, Stuart Ellis, we were talking about him a moment ago, Jake, ultra committed, but unfortunately with running wide and also noticing that time's against him to get the lap complete, he's decided to tow it back to the pit lane, and he'll await the start of qualifying like everybody else. And you watch them jockey for positions here when qualifying gets underway. They'll be trying to find clear air in a 40-car field on that roll-up lap. Easier done on some circuits, but I think there'll be a few guys that'll be looking to work together around here with the view to getting a tow on Conrod Straight. Damon Woods on top of the timesheets, 2.64 tenths of a second clear of the rest of the pack, the only car in the 59s. But the two dominant forces remain the top 2 on the leaderboard.
They do. Zach Rattray White never too far away from Damon Woods. He's very much, if Damon Woods were a distinguished gentleman, Zach Rattray White would be his coat. And that is the way that it would be described as the way they've been this season. Dean Mackay and Reece Wakefield, though, 3rd and 4th here in practice. They'll be very happy for OPRX Gamma Flare that they've got cars to work with. Tice Hodge up in 6th place. He's really loving it, and this might be a day as we will have 20 minutes available in heat-style qualifying to come up in just a moment. No escape rule in effect, because you are allowed to escape the car in iRacing at any time you like. The no escape rule will be in effect. Zach, key is going to be, this might be a day for the specialists of Bathurst.
Exactly right. And it takes a lot of hard work and years of training and preparation to master this place. There are some guys that are masters of the craft that still haven't yet mastered this place. So you know the car, but you haven't yet mastered the circuit. It's what separates Peter Brock and Craig Lowndes from the rest of them in the real world, isn't it? So let's see how this unfolds. Marino Morella's got a black flag already, we're hearing as well, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So more on that in just a moment. But have a look at the jockeying for positions already as they make their way out to get clear air on this opening up. Also reminding everybody at home with it being a 2-minute lap time, there's not going to be a hell of a lot of laps clocked here, ladies and gentlemen. So as Damon Woods is going like a scalded cat already, he knows the importance of getting out, putting a benchmark down, and then if he wants to reset and go again, giving himself the time to do so. If you trip up an off-track alert, if you have to reset and go again, you're going to start to feel the pinch and pressure as we edge closer to the end of this 20 minutes.
Just want to confirm it was actually a speeding penalty down the lane, and you can't just reset and rescind that penalty. You've got to go back and save that. So he's going to have to go and lose his first lap and be off sequence to everyone else. And this a circuit more than others, Zach, where it's a chance for the spotter as we see Zach Hanlon coming out. He's one of them with a spotter. There's 5 of them in the field. He's got James Prince in his ears today. Tom Bewley's got Jack Vlahovic helping him out. Rick Kuznetsov has Brody Sentence for company. Scott Rankin's got the help of Tom Wilkinson, and Angus Lawford has the dulcet tones of Brandon Griffiths.
And Tommy Wilkinson, there'll be some good banter going on in that chat with Scotty Rankin, I am sure. I know the sort of comedy that Tommy brings to the table. Very good operator. Let's ride. Let's go. First lap of the qualifying session underway. Damon Woods up Mountain Straight. I like your point about spotters. Obviously optional. The whole field does not have one. It's not like we're going oval racing, but that again highlights the importance for those guys from a comfort standpoint, I'm going to say. They're going to feel a lot more at ease behind the wheel, Jake, with someone there just poking them in the right direction, giving them a couple of little pointers here and there, being mindful of what's going on around them, because as we know, as we've seen throughout all the other rounds so far, once we get going, it is relentless, it is fierce, it is fast, and there's a lot going on. Everybody's bunched up. You might have cars left and right, particularly here in the early laps. You've seen the 12-hour the last couple of years, mate, in the real world. They don't mind going 3 wide on the opening lap. I expect the same again tonight.
Yeah, they love being aggressive, and look at the work that Damon Woods is doing up the top of the hill here, how he's just trying to feather the wheel through, and the mark of a great sim racer out there is that they are not overturning the steering wheel. They're just turning it enough to get the rotation through, and that's the level between drivers who are good and drivers who are great. How much are you actually rotating that steering wheel? That is the first time over the mountain I have seen Damon Woods on his steering wheel there, Zach, put 90 degrees of lock on. Mega
commitment from Damon Woods, and it just goes to show how hard you've got to work the wheel and steer the thing around Mount Panorama, and you are bound by how that car is willing to work and cooperate with you. And he has got that hooked up on rails at the moment. This is going to be an extraordinarily quick time, of which everybody else will be trying to work towards as this qualifying session unfolds. Last turn, main straight. Let's see. Can he go sub 2 again? I don't think so, but it's going to be a very competitive bencher, a 2-minute point, 8:05.
Yeah, they've got to warm the tyres up, especially in these cold conditions that we have here today. It is currently 20 degrees Celsius track temperature, so it's not really that cool out there. Damon Woods on top at the moment. Varndell then looking to make his push as the main train looks to push to the line. And we talk about this as we all see whether this will be a case of a lovely Pavilion Fury machine jumping up and gaining strong. That's a lap that doesn't count. We talk about this being the sort of circuit where draft is important when you go along the big 2 straights here of Mountain and Conrod. So when you need a drafting partner, this is the sort of time where you go, right, can I coordinate to be out with my teammates to go out and set the times that I believe I've got capable? Reese Wakefield currently in second.
And that's a really good start for him as well. He had an okay qualifying session last time out the Red Bull Ring, but it went belly up in the opening race, didn't it? So he'll be hoping to turn things around tonight. Reese Wakefield, the early standout in qualifying, but again, the margin is nearly 0.3 of a second. Zach Ratway-White in third, Rick Kuznetsov, Zach Kerr, Dylan Shepherd, Ewan Baker, Lewis Greathead, Sam Chapman, Jacob O'Reilly, the top 10 at the moment. Good to see Cam McLeod out there. Benny Pedersen has put a good marker down there in 11th position, just ahead of Stuart Ellis and Ryan Jones, who we were talking about earlier. Dean Mackay and Jed Van Hammett, the top 15. Zach Hanlon across the line, 2 minutes 2.5 2:04.6 at the moment. Our good colleague and friend Scotty Rankin, who's got a big week in the boot ahead of him once we get into the supercars. He's sitting down there in position number 16. And I say that because I don't want to put the mocker on him, boys, but he's going all right now, Porsche Cup, on the platforms of the GSRC right now. An avenue, an outlet that he's taking full advantage of with a view to getting more seat time, getting more comfortable with this car. It's certainly working for him at the moment.
Yeah, well, he'll have to, because Zach Rattray-White goes second on a 2-minute .9. He's currently down 29th in the championship on 454 points, so he's going to have to overturn a 130-point deficit. Ryan Jones to 7th, Dean Mackay back up to 4th, Reese Wakefield 5 thousandths to the good. He's on pole currently on a 2-minute .799. I think Damon going for a cool lap before launching it again. Seth Brown gaining 8 spots up to 18th, and so we've had the first lap times in, but now this is where you get into the market shuffle, where drivers jump up. Jacob O'Reilly now heads to top 10'sville.
You mentioned earlier, didn't you, about drivers that are Bathurst specialists that might rise to the challenge and the occasion tonight. And there's Reese Wakefield, top of the summit at the moment. Sam Chapman making his way back to pit lane, and Ewan Baker making his way around to complete a lap. Currently sitting down there in 13th place. So yes, along with the Bathurst specialists, you also get the guys that, like on Sunday, will fly under the radar and punch above their weight throughout the course of the night as well. We'll keep an eye on them too. Here's Scotty Rankin now. I mentioned a couple of minutes ago he was 16th. Now he's 23rd as everybody else has risen to the challenge and put a marker down. Here's Sam Chapman sparing.
Yeah, bounces over the first curb. It's completely loose. He tries to transfer the weight over, and he's ending up sliding it out, and he, quote unquote, goes out the drift zone and gets 2 tyres or 3 tyres off. 3 tyres off, so minus 20 out there in drifting, and in some drifting circles, you actually get the run zeroed for that. So really tough for Sam Chapman, but that just shows his lap's gone. He would have put 50 pence pieces on the tyres, and nothing more that he can do, except he's going to have to go out and do a little bit more to make it work. Rick Kuznetsov, qualifying has been the one weakness. Can't fault his race pace. He finds a way to get pace up, but he's got to work on 1 lap pace if he wants to be a consistent threat.
I'm interested in having another look at Sam Chapman when we get 5, boys, because we've been talking about that pogo stick element. Damon Woods 2 minutes .271. He's just shaved 6/10 off the time that he put down earlier and gone back clear of Zach Rattray-White by 4/10 of a second, nearly 4.5. Tom Bewley comes through 16th at the moment, moves up into 10th, and Sebastian Varndell trying to get into the top 30. But we've been talking about, there's been a lot of chatter about the 992.2 and its pogo stick element. If you go back and have another look at that replay, boys, you'll see just how much Chapo was bouncing as he was trying to wrestle it out of the chase. So if you ever needed any more convincing, ladies and gentlemen, there's your visual example. Front and centre care of the Vermilion Esports entry. Angus Lawford up to 22nd now.
Yeah, so that is going to be a case of, okay, whose difference maker is going to be made? You look at Luke Swan. He's someone who wants to start jumping up then. He's down in 27th position in the 955 Synergy Sim Racing machine, and he knows that he's going to have to really start finding something out there. He's currently on a 202 flat. Again, another 202 flat with his attempt, but look, half a second's going to get you a good dozen places. Harry Lawrence, another one who is very much eyeing up. I need to get up. I need to start finding it. And this might just be a case of how do you set up for the mountain? How do you set up a circuit like this one? How do you find that ability to extract time where it looks like everyone can only run 1 pace? I mean, if Damon Woods can do it, then everybody else can, but nobody seems to have the magic formula that this guy in teal and blue is putting down. He's going to make the push around the final corner here at just over halfway in this session, and a 2-minute .5 is a couple tenths slower than what he wants.
Dylan Shepherd, impressive a couple of rounds back. Let's wait and see what he can bring to the table on the mountain tonight across the line. He goes 204.123. No improvement there. But Wakefield, however, does improve and goes back ahead of Zach Rattray-White. And Dean Mackay up in a 3rd as well, if you don't mind. Here's Jed Van Hammond up into 12th at the moment as he comes out of the main straight at 202.516. There'll be no improvement that time through. Sperry, the top 14 covered by less than a second. Tommy Bewley, 14th at the moment.
Yeah, so I tell you what, this is a sort of circuit where we are seeing drivers now saying this is going to be close in terms of our times. This is going to be big in terms of what we set our sights on, how we go and get these results, how we go and push ourselves to the limit. And they know that today of all days is a day that they can jump. We look around, I don't see a Hugo Allen in here today. I don't see at this moment in time a case of who is going to stand up on song and ceremony, because I don't see a Brock Gilchrist. So there are chances for drivers to really pick up some big points today and say, look, I can continue to put my ground down while other drivers elect that this Bathurst week is not theirs. I can go and get there. Cam McLeod then crossing the line on a 201.6. He's currently in 26th position currently as Lewis Greathead just on the fringes of the top 10, looking for a way to get out. And because it's such a long lap here, it's 2 minutes per lap, it's taking 4 or 5 laps to go and get it into a total window. I don't think you're going to have the best lap possible if you go on that second attempt.
No, I agree with you, but I'm raising my eyebrows at 22nd on the leaderboard. Sebastian Varndell had a mechanical meatball flag next to his name, boys. So he potentially has come unstuck and has towed to pit lane. So his session is done. Now, how has that happened more to the point? I'm sure Jay Kennedy is on to that right now. And we'll have a look at it on the OG Gear replay in just a moment. Damon Woods, Reece Wakefield, Dean Mackay, Zach Wright. It's interesting, isn't it? Because there has been some improvement in times. Here's the replay first. Let's focus on this and then I'll come back to the point.
Oh! He's clipped the inside wall. It's chucked him out, and that is a massive dissipation of energy on those barriers, and it's not like what you'd have at a dedicated racing circuit all the time here, where you'd have 3 miles of runoff, a safer barrier, some gravel, and anything else you want, a cuddly toy to make you feel better after an incident. This is a stone-cold, unforgiving concrete wall that he's hit, and he's had 3 of them in a row.
Yeah, big hit, savage hit, shades of Chaz Mostert in 2013 at the same point of the circuit. Jacob O'Reilly in 23rd, now we pick him up. So that's going to leave Varndell as a bit of a sitting duck, isn't it? Stuck to 22nd at the moment. Let's wait and see if he moves from there. Interesting to note as well, boys, only 32 drivers have put times down. Byron Pearce, Antal Sabo and Josh Kerwin. Yet to head out on the racetrack, potentially pit lane start penalties for this round of the series. I'll try and chase some verification on that. Otherwise, there'd be no explanation for them being here in the first place. The other Davis with 35, which would be the lightest field of the season, but still enough to keep us entertained around here for what is going to be 24 laps of racing across 2 hits tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Harry Lawrence still sitting 31st across the line. He goes now 203.304 and still glued to 31st, the inside of the 16th row. Jordan Malcolm sitting alongside him 32nd at the moment. It'll be interesting to see. Let's observe who improves and who doesn't on this second run through. I agree with you, Jake. I'm not sure that there's much in it at the moment. Only time will tell. But some of these guys do ease into it and hit their straps at the pointy end. It'll be interesting to see if they can do that tonight, particularly this guy here, Dylan Shepherd, 203.507. And to find himself up into the top 3, he would need to find somewhere in the realm of half a second. And that's not an easy task around here.
It's not, and that's because Zach Rattray-White's just done his 2:420 time, which puts him on the top. Stefan McCartney, then, who is in the number 51, looking to go out there and push, but I think his lap is invalidated because he went off at the top of the mountain, so he's going to find that, okay, I'm going to have to go around again, and now they're down to just a quarter of this session to go. 5 minutes left, and this isn't just 5 minutes here in terms of, oh, you get the luxury of finishing your lap. This is a heat session in iRacing. For those who don't understand what that means, you get 20 minutes total, not 20 minutes plus added time remaining in your soccer match.
20 minutes, and then the anchor gets, the cord gets yanked from the plug, doesn't it? It's over and done with. So on that notion, you've only got 2 flying laps left at this point. You've only got 2 rolls of the dice, and in about 20 seconds' time, that's going to skim down again, and you're only going to be able to go and have at it once. So very quickly running out of time here. If you're Damon Woods, you're content. You've got a 10th of a second on Reece Wakefield. That's a great story for him to be on the front row at this moment. Here's Chapo recovering from that early skirmish, trying to get around onto the main straight. Seth Brown.
Seth Brown, big hit. He's had a massive hit with Stefan McCartane. So he's just gone around over the top of the mountain. It's down the hill. And this is where you find out just how tough this circuit is. Hitting the brakes, trying to find his mark. He's pushing hard. He's lost it. Bang. Once, twice, and now he's blind on the circuit. He's trying to find his way to get back around, and he's had a big hit there with McCarthy. He tries to pull it around, bang, there's the next hit.
And unfortunately, one of the sheer realities of racing here, and look at them, they're all struggling to take evasive action and get, and quite rightly, reversing out of the road. That's quite clever in the end. Try and get off the racing line out of harm's way, but for everybody that was arriving on scene there, they might have been getting a message in their ear saying caution, 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 but no idea. They're flying blind. They're turning in and then seeing the car stranded and having to react with no reaction time available to them. Let's have a look at it again.
On entry.
Yeah, unsettled from the entry, and that's it. Bang, clattered all the walls on the way through. Well, if you're going to do it well.
The margins are fine at bang. That's a horrible hit to have, and there's no way of avoiding that if you're Stefan McCartane. You have to take caution of it, but that is a disastrous hit there that is going to cause a lot of irkness for many drivers out there who will see their lap times not go the way they want. Zach Rattray-White has improved again, and now he is just 0.003 of a second shy of second place. Great head all the way back now in 14th, because he's seen Bewley and Brown and Muir and Kerr. They've all jumped up. Marina Morella in 9th. Great head now to 9th. 2-minute.941. That was needed in terms of an attempt, because now there are 5 drivers in the 2-minute.9s, and Sam Chapman wants to be the next one. 201.5 isn't going to find himself up there because he can't improve on a 201.4. We're into final laps, Phil.
We are indeed, but not for Damon Woods. He's already exited stage left into pit lane. Here comes Luke Swan. This is his last roll of dice onto the main straight in the 202s. Yeah, 202.23. Not bad for Luke Swan, but unfortunately not able to move beyond 29th. Dylan Shepherd bails and comes to pit lane. So you called it. Well done. That's why you do what you do. So well, Jake. Very little improvement from... as a percentage-wise of the field. Across the line there goes Tice Hodge limping in the end. Jet Van Hammett to pit road. A lot of guys finding that they're just not able to improve on the market that they set earlier. So that's going to set us up quite nicely. Benny Pedersen's going to give it a crack there to try and improve on 18. And he's 1.1 seconds off the pace at the moment. 201.37. Oh, no. Messed it up off the final corner. A little bit squirrely coming off the final corner, 201.409. So a beast proverbial in that. Marino Morella and others coming to pit lane right now. Here's Ewan Baker trying to finish the lap. They've got 45 seconds to do so. So anyone that's coming down Conrod Straight should be able to complete the lap. Beyond that, forget about it. And Jared McLeod coming into pit lane in 30th place right now. Zach Kerr, keep an eye on him, yeah. Oh, no, don't keep an eye on him. He's going to pit lane as well. But he'd only just recently got displaced from the top 10. He and Sam Muir by Great Head and Morella late in that session
look at
there.
Damage on the rear wing.
I think so.
Angus Lawford. The strut completely up, and so that will be his lap gone as well. Lewis Greathead will be the last car, I believe, to the line as Miles Burgess comes in to stop. He was late to get into session. 2-minute.8. Massive from Lewis Greathead. That will get him up to 7th. Chapman at the 11th hour and the 59th second is trying to get there. 2-1-0. Has he got enough? 201.9. I think he's just about 22nd then with that, so he's not going to improve on effort, but your field is now set here for Mount Panorama and your first race of 2, and it is a case of a 10th and 2,000ths then for Damon Woods as he finds himself on the front with Reese Wakefield for company then as they start at Mount Panorama. Zach Rattray-White will be going from the inside of row 2, and he'll have Dean Mackay for company there in that 4th position. You've then got the case of Rick Kuznetsov and Dylan Shepherd. So Gamma Flare, OPR Gamma Flare, all on the right side. They can put a big train out if they want to on the mountain straight on the start. Tice Hodge, good qualify from him. He is there in 8th as Lewis Greathead is just ahead of him in 7th spot on the grid. Ewan Baker pushes the Synergy Sim Racing 34 into 9th place with Marino Morella rounding out your top 10. As then you've got then in 11th and 12th, Zach Kerr and Sam Muir, who will be looking at their pushes saying, look, this is how we're going to go about business. Row 7 will see Seth Brown and Tom Bewley together on the grid then, with them just 8/10 off of the pace time set by Pole, as Jed Van Hemert then jumps up. Good time for him in 15th, and Stefan McCartney then in 16th position. Over to 17th and 18th, Jacob O'Reilly was as high as 10th in his qualifying session. He's gone back a bit. Ben Pedersen there for Riot. Then in that 18th spot, your top 20 rounds out by Stuart Ellis and by Miles Burgess there for OPRX Gamma Flare each, which means they have that 10th row lockout. Then over to 21st, where Angus Lawford, despite having the damaged rear strut there in qualifying, certainly did not help Project 36. Sam Chapman will go from 22nd position, as just behind that it is a case of Zachary Hanlon there in the BM Plus machine and the number 11 of Ryan Jones for DPR Racing, who are looking to try and make their charges up. Sebastian Varndale and Pat Klein then will house row 13 of the grid for Vermilion, and 9-5 out there as far as things go, with Scott Rankin then in 27th position, along with Cameron McLeod there in the Coca-Cola helmet, there in 28th place. Your top 30 in times at 1.7 and 1.9 adrift are Luke Swan and Jared McLeod. Your top 32 split up by then Harry Lawrence, who'll have work to do, and Jordan Malcolm, but the back isn't always the worst place in the world. Those who are ineligible to set times in qualifying include Ansel Sharbo, Byron Pierce, and Josh Perwin, who will all be down from the back of the field looking to try and find a way through. And it's a tough one for Josh Perwin because he has to start behind all the safety cars and even the race directors as well. So tough day at the office for Josh, who will have to go from 40th place. Zach, I can hear you chuckling down on the grid because you've got a couple of people that you're going to get the chance to talk to.
Indeed, we'll bring them into the booth and have a chat with them as we get ready to rock and roll here. Jake, thank you to you. I'm not sure who we're getting first, whether we're going to have a chat to Cam McLeod or Tom Bewley, but they're the two that we're going to have a chat to on the grid walk this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Round 7 of the Moza Racing Porsche Pro Invitational Series, and race 1 about to get underway. Tommy Bewley first cab off the rank for us. Tommy, talk to me. 14th, pass or fail in your opinion, please?
No, it's been a pretty good job, I reckon. I'm not even on my sim, so over in Australia doing some testing for the real life stuff, and lucky enough I've got a good mate, Lincoln, who let me use his sim tonight, so a bit different to mine with a single monitor and different pedals and steering wheel, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with that.
And that brings that, you've just fed me straight into the topic of discussion here, because how hard can that be? Obviously, you're very well averse to going out and driving in the real world, and then obviously going back and hopping in the sim and doing a lot of miles to keep match fit, right? But how difficult is it to adapt to unfamiliar, uncomfortable surroundings and try and just push through it?
Yeah, it's a lot different running a single monitor. I've actually never done that, so I'm always on triples. So yeah, it will be interesting in the race to see how I go with other people around me, but no, happy with quali, you know, still in the mix and still in for some good points.
Only 7 laps in this opening heat, made our quickest in terms of and shortest in terms of kilometre distance this season for a sprint race, and it is the shortest of the entire campaign. How do you go about trying to push your way forward with all of those factors in mind, and why isn't the goalpost 10th place to try and get the invert pole?
Yeah, I think I'll try for that, but it's kind of just about finishing for this round. Obviously, yeah, just trying to get used to this one, and I've only done about 30 minutes of testing before hopping in, so it's all new, but yeah, looking forward to it.
As you can see on the screen there, folks, 5 minutes before we get this thing underway. I might just ask you one or two more questions here, Tommy, and then we'll have a quick chat to Cam McLeod. Let's have a chat about the real world. You mentioned you're over here doing some testing at the moment. Still a busy back half of the real world stuff to come. How's that all going for you, please?
Yeah, it's really good. Had a test yesterday at QR, so that was pretty successful, and looking forward to going there and racing in a week or so time. So that'll be pretty good, and then really busy for the rest of the year with still 5 rounds to go.
Staying on this side of the pond between now and next weekend?
Yeah, that's exactly the reason why I'm on Lincoln Sim. So yeah, really grateful for him. Let me do this.
Very nicely done. We wish you all the best with QR next weekend. I know we'll be cheering you on, and obviously the best of luck in a somewhat compromised situation for this evening. But glass half empty, glass half full. At least you're able to get out there and have a crack.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome, thanks.
Good on you, Tommy. There he is, Tom Bewley. Very nice to catch up with him. He's been impressive throughout the course of the season, but it's nice that he's been able to bring that to our attention, ladies and gentlemen, that small bit of detail. He's not in familiar surroundings tonight. We place great importance on creature comforts in this game, so his adaptability will be a point of interest for me and Jake to have a chat about throughout the course of the evening. Let's go a little bit further down the field to car number 37, 28th position for you, Cameron McLeod. Good evening. Talk us through that, because from here, it would appear as though the only way is forward, but we just know how difficult a task that can and will probably be around Mount Panorama. Talk us through the challenges of qualifying, please.
Yeah, definitely struggled to get the tyres up for the first few laps and then made a little mistake, and that was kind of me for quali. So I would like to have the pace to win, but I don't think I do it all. So definitely something realistically would be a bit closer towards that top 10 by the time there might be a bit of carnage, and hopefully pick my way off through some cars.
I was going to say the season have to somewhat depart Moza style, I think, if you're going to be able to make... It'll be a hell of a story if you're able to claw back 18 spots in 7 laps, mate.
Oh, you never know, mate. You never know. The JV engineering car could be quite good in race trim. So thanks to JV for getting this car JV'd up. And yeah, I guess we'll just give it a red hot crack, try to get off the start line, which I'm pretty good at, I reckon. Hope they don't blow the clutch out of the thing, but we'll do our best.
We've only got about 2.5 minutes here, and I'm about to throw back to Jake Sperry to bring us to green here. The other point that we want to make with you is that we got some intel from our good mate Brenton O'Brien as we were getting ready to have a chat with you. You and Bewley, both real world drivers, in real life drivers, and also teammates. So you'd be getting ready for the same busy second half of the season schedule as he is at the moment. How are you finding that?
Yeah, just... yeah, I guess just there's nothing really for me for the next month and a half for the GT4 stuff. So, yeah, just kind of doing a bit of sim racing, and maybe I'll do a few more of these races and try to keep my eye on. And JV is doing a good job with setting up the car and stuff. So it's all, yeah, I mean, mate, it's a good event to be a part of.
Absolutely it is. GT4, of course, next stop for them, Sydney Motorsport Park, middle of September, for anyone wanting to follow along your progress. How are you enjoying having this avenue as an outlet to stay match fit, if you don't mind me asking? Last one before I let you go.
It's just good. I think most of the races you jump on online, people are a bit chaotic, but in these races, everyone's quite settled, and it's really realistically run. So that makes it quite enjoyable, and you can race everyone quite hard, and everyone kind of has a brain on them, which is very good.
Very nicely done. We wish you the best of luck trying to weave and rip and tear your way through an absolute barrage of traffic tonight, mate. We know it's not going to be an easy task, but we wish you the best with it, and hopefully you come home in one piece.
Yeah, hopefully they are the traffic and I'm not. So, yeah. Thanks, mate.
Exactly right. There he is, Cam McLeod. Sperry, 45 seconds. Here's the countdown to green. We're done on the grid. Let's go racing. One of the hotly anticipated and keenly awaited rounds of the Moza Racing Pro Invitational season.
Absolutely. Keep an eye that the grid does not form as twos and twos and twos. There is a large stagger here, and this is because this has happened, or this circuit was created before circuits like Adelaide on iRacing that do have the stagger. That is 2, 2, 2 instead of 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So it's a very elongated grid stall, so that's a big advantage into turn number 1 for Damon Woods, who's there at the front. It's 7 laps here. The grid order from this, well, pretty much sets up what you've got for race 2 and 17 laps coming up. But this is a case of, can you confirm your legacy? Can you start romping towards that title with Reverie? Green flag drops and 7 laps starts immediately. What a good launch by Reese Wakefield. He'll immediately pull himself right up underneath into Hell's Corner for the first time. And now he'll need to drive off the X. He doesn't get that though. And Zach Rattray White's got a chance. Now they funnel in to turn 1 and say, right, time to climb the hill and do everything we possibly can to make it work. Zach Rattray White wants the way up at Griffin's Bend. He's working hard with the slipstream of Damon Woods. Now it's about ego heading towards turn 2. And look at that, bumped off through there, and suddenly Dean Mackay, cookies, that's mine.
Indeed, took full advantage of the fact that Rattray White was elbowed wide at Griffin's Bend, and now the logjam, the congestion, as that was the word I was looking for earlier when we were talking to Cam McLeod. They make the cutting for the first time. They got through there. I'm going to be honest with you, Sperry. I'm not a fan of the 1-1-1 staggered grid that we have here, but it probably did assist us in getting through the first corner relatively unscathed. Not so much for the second corner, but we're still running clean and green to the top of the mountain for the first time. Have a look at the crowd on the edge of their seat already as they make their way across the top. Stephen McCartan up in the 16th spot at the moment. Tommy Bewley remains 14th. Not much movement, with the exception of Dean Mackay benefiting from that hip and shoulder between Reese Wakefield and Zach Rattray White as they make it to the elbow for the first time.
And now is the charge down the hill again. So they've got the opportunity on towards the greatest corner in Australian sim racing to come along. And these laps vital because they've only got 7 here in this first race to deal with. And they know how important it is. There is the 57, the other McLeod in this field. Jared looking to try and get himself pushed through. Byron Pierce has made good progress on the start of this race. Ryan Jones looking for this one here with Scott Rankin, but they're all nice and clean here through the chase on the opening lap, and that's what we like to see. Just opportunities that are presenting themselves for ways to go and make moves. Ben Pedersen on the back then of Jacob O'Reilly. 1 lap in the book.
And only 6 to go. This will fly by in the blink of an eye, ladies and gentlemen. 2 minutes gone already and about 12 to go. Mount Panorama Bathurst looking an absolute treat on a Wednesday night for you on the platforms of the Australian Sim Racing Group and the Sim Speed Esports Network. Oh, trouble! And that's Jed Van Hammett. Jed Van Hammett, exit drivers left in the grass at turn 1. And really, to be fair, Jake, I mean, it'll be of no comfort to him whatsoever at this particular point in time, the fact that he's now stone motherless last. But he's very lucky that he's come undone at a rare part of the circuit where there is a little bit of runoff area to work with.
Oh, he's just attacked the curb too high. The car's just gripped up on the outside. He's gone sailing into the barriers there. It's only a light hit into the concrete, but you never want to come back across and have any form of contact there. It's getting very, very busy. Oh, trouble in the wall. Tom Bewley, he's gone straight sideways across the road. He's safe. What a massive moment there going through Solman.
Back down to 22nd position now as he limps away and just looks at the world being swept out from under him, really. Have a look at the ground that he's lost there. So this will be the dipper.
You can see this here. He's trying to throw, there's no way through. There's the contact, and it finds himself then out on the side. He's lucky he's been able to keep that in a straight line. But Stefan McCarthy had his own moment down there. What a save! That was a huge save there. Now sets himself up in line, and you take this down the hill, bang, hit it to the side. No clearance. Look at that rear. That's not how a Porsche should look.
No, it's not looking very happy, but he's just going to have to persevere with it and make do for the remaining 5 laps. There's no faster pairs to work with.
McLeod had to take to the grass coming down the chase at the moment. He had to commit. Everything going on here as we focus on this battle that's starting to form. We've got defences here, there and everywhere in your mid-pack right now. Varndale is the big block in at the moment. We're going to have to come back up the order because that is Zach Rattray White who has dropped now a couple places. He's now side by side at now 4 seconds adrift. So he's realising all of a sudden that he wants to start getting the move on because he's dropping so much time behind Dean Mackay. Here comes the look again into turn 2, and again he gets a hit on the outside that says he doesn't want to go through. Gamma Flare has the elbow treatment going.
They do, and they're using it to good effect at the moment. Rubbing's racing, as they say in Talladega Nights. We're right on board with Ratway White. Look at that concentration on his face at the moment, trying to find a way by Dean Mackay, illustrating exactly what we said when we had a look at the track map, ladies and gentlemen, just how difficult it is to execute and consolidate overtaking manoeuvres around here. Yes, he's attacking the right part of the circuit, but they're not giving him any opportunity to capitalise and get the momentum on the outside. A little bit of dirt being kicked up there. Mackay holding Ratway White at bay, but at the same time, Jake, they're falling back into the clutches of Rick Kuznetsov, who's eyeing off a big piece of this if the opportunity presents itself.
I tell you what, here's Zach. He's only been racing now on to lap 3. Stuart Ellis has run into a problem as well. Look at this, up the hill, bang. He glances the wall, massive hit into the side. How that's kept in one piece, I have no idea. It's cost him a couple spots, but you're seeing already just how aggressive it's been. We've got the 33rd place car in trouble down at the top of the mountain, and I think it's Stefan McCartane, and I think we need a safety car.
Oh, no. So that's gonna truncate this, isn't it? We've completed lap 2, which trouble, big one in the chase. My goodness, Stuart Ellis and Sebastian Vandel.
That's huge. No safety car called. Free to tow at the top of the mountain. That's a huge accident down at the chase. And it's the most committed section of the circuit if you want to get a pass done. He was trying to get it to work around the outside. And I'll be honest with you, Vandel has pinched. And look at it, still going. Look at this, is top 10. This is top 10. Marina Morella right in the picture here. And they are going to push each other. Look at this. On the bump draft, they want to clear Dylan Shepherd as quickly as possible here. 1, 2, 3. Shepherd's going to try and push it to 3. 2 by 2 they go. No contact. Wonderful stuff.
Really good stuff. Little bit of contact on the exit of Griffin's Bend. Up to the cutting we go. Let's wait and see. Will there be a Murphy Ambrose at the moment? No, there won't be. Keep an eye on Zach Kerr in 11th at the moment. He wants to try and get by Ewan Baker there, Jake, because that's for the invert pole. To the top of the mountain we go. And Zach Ratway White in the wars at the moment. He's been passed by Rick Kuznetsov. So Reese Wakefield and Dean Mackay are sitting pretty second and third.
They'll be very happy with that, but Zach Ratway White brought a massive turn up through turn 4. So it's got to be turn 5, he's got to get the tiny contact, makes it happen. McCarthy just basically gets punted like he's an AFL ball out there. Nothing he can do out there at that point. That was a nightmare to go and deal with. Back down the hill, and look at this for aggression. Down at the bottom.
Trouble.
Huge moment then, dropping down the order for Lewis Greathead.
Down to 15th was out to Benny Patterson. We'll have a look at that on the OG Gear replay in a moment. I'm sure they're still side by side. Ty Hodgson, Dylan Shepherd, Marino Morella trying to break clear of them at the moment. Ewan Baker wants a piece of it. Shepherd fighting for dear life just to hold on to 7th, but he's on the wrong side of the road as they hit the chase. Have a look at that. Hodge down the inside, Shepherd the outside. Shepherd has to tuck back in. Oh my goodness, the first lap was tame. It's been unhinged ever since. How good. Lap 4 in the books. We start lap 5, 3 laps to go.
Well, they've just turned around and said, right, lap 1 was not Mount Panorama. We've got to make up for it in the next 6. So that's how it's gone, and there's more lunges to the inside then as Kerr tries to get the look through. We'll take an OG Gear replay. This is Vandel's incident. He's pushing too much and ultimately not leaving enough room. They hook, they turn, and it's as simple as you're both going to go sailing on, and it's a massive accident here. Oh, no room on the inside. Back to the outside. Shepherd with his blocking boots on. Hodge then with Baker. Kerr down the inside as Seth Brown gets there. Muir, O'Reilly and Pedersen to the party now. Means it's a massive train up to the cutting.
7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and I reckon 14th, which was Benny Pedersen, scraped the wall on the approach to the cutting. Up the hill we go. So Pedersen's going to fall back potentially into the clutches of Greathead, Burgess and Chapman. Now remember, only 4 of these guys, remembering that this is the battle for 7th, led by Dylan Shepherd. And as you can see on your screen there, it goes all the way down to 18th. That's a 12-car battle pack freight train at the moment you're looking at, folks. But only 4 of them are going to make the cut. 4 of them are looking at a front 2-row start, and everybody else is looking at that thinking, oh, God, we're going to have to work our proverbials off yet again when we get to race 2. It's going to be a case of so near yet so far, particularly if you're Seth Brown and Sam Muir at the moment. You'd be feeling pretty dejected if you can't find a way in to the top 10. Most positions gained so far. Byron Pearce, what a charge from him, up 12 spots.
Yeah, he's having a really lovely day, and it's continuing on for him in terms of battling. Because look at this, Ryan Jones, he's going to thread the needle with 3 wide to the chase. This can only end in tears. Over on the right, Cameron McLeod lifts off wisely using that real-world experience then. It's Jones who goes and looks around and sees Byron Pearce with another 2 in the back pocket. Make that 14 that he now sits in here. 2 laps to go. Damon Woods, remember him? He's at the front by 3 seconds at the moment over Reece Wakefield. Morella now through here on the likes of Zach Rattray-White. And that's huge because remember, Zach is only second in the championship right now here, Zach, by 6 points.
Correct. And Rick Kuznetsov is 2 positions ahead of him at the moment, so the fat's going to be trimmed well and truly on that one. And Damon Woods is looking at this thinking, well, Zach's my nearest opponent. I'm ahead of everybody else. So the goalposts, they grow longer and further in the distance for everybody that's trying to reel him in at the moment. It becomes increasingly more difficult. Oh, geez, that was hairy at the cutting, but they got away with it. That's Ewan Baker and Zach Kerr side by side on the run to the top of the mountain. Kerr's on the wrong side of the road. He tucks back in. Baker holding on to 9th at the moment. Kerr trying to get through. And, of course, in behind them, Seth Brown waiting to capitalise wholly and solely if these 2 come to blows. And we've got 1.5 to go as they hit the top of the mountain.
And they're fighting for that 9th place in the bubble. Ryan Jones limping around slow. So he's run into troubles then up the top, and we've seen so much of that over 7 laps. It's felt like everyone should be rushing to get all their passes in. Marino Morella, though, looking at how he gets back at Rick Kuznetsov down the hill. And noting here, Ryan Jones, is it again? Oh, he caught a wiggle and then bang. Yeah. That's a huge hit.
A little bit of a pogo bobble into the wall he went. And as you say, massive impact. Marino Morella sits 5th at the moment. He's chasing Rick Kuznetsov. Ewan Baker under pressure. Relentless pressure from Zach Kerr. Will Kerr go to the inside? Dive? No.
No, he doesn't get it done. Jordan Malcolm, by the way, has been requested a tow from race control. He's had a big moment in the same place. He's had Varndell behind him, but he's been had a massive hit from in front because there was another car stopped off the top. Jed Van Hemmer again. So major incidents then as we start the final lap of this race. It's very tough to keep your eyes on where everybody is out there in this field, but we are focusing on the transfer spot for the moment for the reverse, and Seth Brown is the one who's got to try and charge up with Sam Muir and Jacob O'Reilly. Zach Kerr, who's 4th in the championship, might have the best seat in the house for 17 laps coming up in the reverse. So he looks around, thinks about the move though here with Ewan Baker, and well, it's a case where you turn around and say Braveheart himself trying to go out there, trying to defend with everything he's got, with the flowing ginger lot that he has, covers another defence, and it brings the group closer once more. Great run up the top by Seth Brown. He's really wanting now to try and prove that he's got what it takes here. He wants to prove that he can go out there, he can throw it with the best of them, but they come up through Solomon. Now Metal Great, but Philomene comes along as the next big left-hander, and the key to this is Baker runs deep there over the top of the hill. That's going to compromise him then as he looks to try and get this jump down, and everyone's going to follow and try and latch onto the tail best they can. Morella is all over as well, the back of Rick Kuznetsov, who's having to defend down the hill here. This for the 4th place, and all important for 2nd in the championship as far as it goes. Can you believe these drivers are already a full chase behind your race leader as Damon Woods makes his way over towards Murray's here, and he has left everybody just speechless with a run like this. 4 seconds better than anyone, a whole decade clear of anyone else. Brilliant stuff. They fight hard for 4th between Kuznetsov and Morella. Morella on the outside, it's Rick on the inside. Is there a way for Zach Rattray-White to get himself involved at the final corner? Rick elbows out, gets 4th.
And Rattray-White misses out on 5th, so Marino Morella holds on. Then Ratway White, Shepherd, Hodge, Baker, Kerr with the invert pole, Brown, Muir, O'Reilly, Pedersen and Burgess the top 15, Chapman getting 16th in the end, Pipping Lawford, Greathead, Pearce, McLeod the top 20. So McLeod didn't get to the top 10, but he got to the top 20. Purely, unfortunately, sitting duck there in 21st, having sustained that damage early on. And on the subject, Zach Ratway White, unfortunately, just unable to get any momentum in all of that, Jake. Dropped 4 spots throughout the course of that 7 laps. Really had to work hard just to hold on to 6th, and he'll start 5th for the second race in a few moments' time. That was about as intense as we've seen it so far this season in the Moza Racing Porsche Pro Invitational. Damon Woods, have a look at the margins. You mentioned Damon Woods being 4 seconds up the road from Reece Wakefield, but have a look at the rest of it. 8 seconds then back from Wakefield to Mackay, who had 3 on that enormous battle pack, which consisted of Kuznetsov, Morella, Ratway White, Shepherd, Hodge, Baker, Kerr, etc. and so forth. Just extraordinary stuff. To see over only 7 laps, Jake, the top echelons of that field spread out as far as it did.
Absolutely, with Damon Woods' 4-second margin, OPR Gamma Flare 2 and 3, and Rick Kuznetsov there taking critical points in 4th. We've got a really good invert coming up with Morella, Rattray White, Shepherd and co all the way down there to your pole, which will be Zach Kerr, who's 4th in the championship. Seth Brown bubbles then in 11th place with Sam Muir and Jacob O'Reilly 12th and 13th. Ahead of Ben Pedersen, Miles Burgess there in 15th and Sam Chapman in 16th. Angus Lawford and Lewis Greathead then see Byron Pearce get all the way up to 19th there in that one, and he's going to be a threat in the second race coming up, with Cameron McLeod rounding out your top 20 on a very, very nicely consistent run. You then see Tom Bewley going backwards, Zach Hanlon there in 22nd. Scott Rankin, a 23rd place finish ahead of Harry Lawrence, with Jared McLeod, Luke Swan and Pat Klein making up 27. Stuart Ellis, Ryan Jones, your last finisher then in the race, as Sebastian Varndale would pull it over 1 lap down in 30th, and it also was trouble for Jed Van Hemert, Jordan Malcolm, Stefan McCartain and Josh Purweir not getting the result that's needed. Critically to speak here, Zach, it's the drivers at the back of the pack, mid to late field, that found all of the walls.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, it has a habit of doing that, doesn't it? The deeper you are in the pack, the more potential of running into trouble because of various number of different circumstances. Everybody getting checked up, blind spots, not being able to take evasive action, not having room to move, etc. and so forth. Interesting to note as well, Entail Sabo didn't even start the race as well, Jake. There's a look at the schedule ahead for you, ladies and gentlemen. It is an enormous week here on the platforms of your home of both the V8 Pro Invitational and the Porsche Pro Invitational, the SimSpeed Esports Network, and also the Australian Sim Racing Group. So tonight, well, we're up and away. How good's it to be here? Tomorrow night, you've got a night off, which is a good opportunity to recharge the batteries. 7:45 Eastern, 5:45 on the West Coast, and that equates to 9:45 a.m. GMT on Friday night. We're back here for the co-driver clash to determine who gets the golden ticket to the big dance for next year. And then, of course, Saturday night qualifying from the earlier time, 6:15 Eastern Standard. That's, of course, 8:15 a.m. GMT. So Saturday morning breakfast is served up in the form of the qualifying and shootout from the mountain for you, Jake. And then, of course, the V8 Pro Invitational shootout, top 15 shootout, it's important to note, from 8:30. I'm going to come back to that middle part of Saturday night's offering in just a moment. V8 Pro Invitational Sunday, all day long. Put it in the diary, clear it. Your schedule is already full, ladies and gentlemen. You're with us from start to finish. Set up on the lounge, keep the esky full, kick back and relax. Us on one screen, cricket on the other. And I say that because there are plenty of cricket fans within the Australian Sim Racing Group. It's 161 laps. It's 11 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We go all day long. Scott Rankin, Stephen Sandman Clark and I. Particularly interested in looking at the V8 Vet Support Race, which is part of our Saturday night offering, ladies and gentlemen, because Sandman's going to go from commentary box to car to racing the V8 Vet Support Race, then back to the commentary box for the shootout. in scenes not seen since Neil Crompton was doing that back when he was racing with Brocky in the BMW in 1988, etc. and so forth. So looking forward to seeing how Sandman goes from being our expert analyst and then going out there and having a steer. I'm sure the boys will be ready to throw some shade in his general direction in the central commentary position. We cannot wait for that.
Well, especially seeing as the V8 vets actually also have a round on Thursday that they will be going to. So they've got a very wet Sandown to go and head to in terms of racing action. So I'll be looking around and saying, right, this is an incredibly busy Australian sim racing week. And there is so much amazing action that you can find here as part of your Bathurst 1000 weekend schedule here with us. And you can catch it live with us on SimSpeed TV. And just want to say a massive congratulations to SimSpeed TV here, Zach. We don't often get a chance to check a flag comes out quickly. 10,000 subscribers.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's our audience. I had no idea. So that's an extraordinary achievement. But at the end of the day, and again, we're not going to leak in the pockets of our producer too often. He does a magnificent job. But it's a testament to the entire team and what they've done for the longest time. It's no secret to anybody that they run at the very forefront of many of the coverage of many sim racing leagues right around this country and also the world as well. So, no, well done to the SimSpeed team. That's a magnificent achievement. And it just goes to show the large audience that sim racing has acquired over the course of time, Jake, particularly in the last 6 years. It's come on leaps and bounds. There's your grid for race 2, mate. Zach Kerr with the invert pole.
Yep, it's the long-haired boys at the front of Kerr and Baker looking to look and make their pushes off the start of this one as Tice Hodge will go from third and Dylan Shepherd will there be in fourth. There, a battle of the curtains as it seems as they go on forward. Zach Rattray White and Marina Morella will then be in fifth and sixth and all eclipse third row of the field with Rick Kuznetsov there in seventh and eighth position belonging to Dean Mackay. It's then going to be Reese Wakefield who'll start from ninth. Damon Woods looking for the way to charge up through the order. That makes up your top 10 as Seth Brown and Sam Muir will be in 11th and 12th positions. 13th then is going to be in the pocket of Jacob O'Reilly with Ben Pedersen, who has been assessed a 10-second penalty in race 1. Dylan Shepherd's been given 5 and Sebastian Varndale 10. So that will be a cause of concern there with Miles Burgess and Sam Chapman immediately following on for row 8. Row 9, 17th and 18th, Angus Lawford and Lewis Greathead, two drivers who will be expected to move up the order with some good, strong driving as Byron Pierce, your biggest mover, will have Cameron McLeod then to make up your top 20. It then follows with Tom Bewley and Zach Hanlon. So the two teammates IRL are going to have to work together through the mid-late pack with Scott Rankin 23rd and Harry Lawrence there in 24th position. You've then got Jared McLeod and Luke Swan. They make up the 13th row of the grid with 14th row around the corner being Pat Klein and Stuart Ellis. You have then got Ryan Jones in 29th and Sebastian Varndale down in 30th position. They'll be looking at this going long day at the office. Jed Van Hemert and Jordan Malcolm then make up the top 32 with Stefan McCarthy, Josh Perwin and no Antal Sabo by the looks of things. So he is not going to be taking to the start here of this one. So they've got an extra 10 laps to figure this out. So this could be a lot calmer because you've got more time to make those moves. But Aggression and the Mountain go at exactly the same cadence. So keep that in mind. We'll jump through with how amazing this start is just about to be as they will look to set that run and say, look, this is where you've got to be. 5 seconds left on the clock before the lights procedure then goes and starts. And now you've got to set yourself up with Preston. Slightly hotter, the track temperature now by 3 degrees. Zach Kerr, Ewan Baker, set yourself up on song and say, what can you do to hold the rest of the world behind you? It's a green, it's a go, and let's get ourselves underway. It's a fairly decent start there. Ewan Baker had a lot more wheel spin than Zach Kerr did. They fall in line through the top 14 cars in towards Hell's Corner, and that shows you how much respect they're going to need on this opening lap.
Great respect shown, but it was like this on the opening lap of the first race about 20 minutes ago as well, and quickly changed pace and tune. Let's wait and see how quickly they up the ante here to Griffin's Bend for the first time, side by side in the battle for position number 4. Zach White, Dylan Shepherd further back, still a little bit of 2x2 running, but relatively calm, all things considered so far as they head to the cutting for the first time. The question will be, I get the feeling, Jake, that race control won't be clearing anyone that's requesting a tow as quickly as they did in race 1. They would have been doing that only because it was a 7-lap race. With 17, they do have the leverage and the luxury. Big smash in the wall. My goodness, Ewan Baker gives it a good clout at the top of the mountain. But they will have the opportunity and leverage to deploy the safety car if required.
Well, don't tell me Ewan Baker's not pushing right now. He is absolutely trying to give everything. Flower of Scotland and everything has damaged there to the rear wing, actually, there for Ewan Baker as he had that massive clout. So keep an eye out on that that left rear strut there as he comes through. That's turned up. He's going to be down a little bit in straight line and downforce.
Indeed he is. We've got our eyes on Benny Pedersen. We go back to Ewan Baker now, so keep an eye on Baker. Will he be a sitting duck here? Zach Kerr's cleared him by 1.0 seconds so far. Tice Hodge under pressure here from Zach Ratway White as well, side by side on the run of the chase. Ratway White was loose, but he got through on the inside, goes to third, goes out of pursuit of Baker now, and here comes Reece Wakefield on the comeback through the field, up 3 spots already.
Tice Hodge was the one who struggled loose. Great head, losing a few spots off the get-go. He's now down to 21st. They're side-by-side into Murray's as Sam Chapman dispatches of Jacob O'Reilly. This is going to now start getting busy. They've had a lap to set out the stall of where they want to be. Angus Lawford might think about trying to follow through as he pushes into Hell's Corner, and wide the push will be then for the likes then of Sam Chapman. Lawford will now get through, and here comes Byron Pearce up the hill.
Further back down through the order we go, the more intense it is already. Some of these guys to make their way forward.
Oh, no, hang on. Kuznetsov's in the barriers at 2.
Yep, there it is, left-hand side. Crunched up. Will he be able to drive it away from there? We'll wait and see, but that ends his charge. Big time. Chapman also dropping down the order to 16th at the moment. Damon Woods up to 7th at the expense of Reece Wakefield. And Kuznetsov not moving. Bang!
It's a hard hit, and we have seen the litany of hard hits that have gone into Griffin's Bend there, turn 2. It is a nightmare dressed up in ivory for many out there, and it is a date with destiny with the barriers that Rick Kuznetsov could ill afford championship-wise.
Correct. Coming into this round, he was third, 9.47, only 6 points behind Zach Ratway White. Sitting duck at the moment, not moving. I get the feeling what I was just making the point about is about to come to fruition, ladies and gentlemen. Down Conrod Straight we go, the end of lap 2. Zach Kerr leads Ewan Baker, Zach Ratway White. For Zach Kerr and Ewan Baker, as the safety car is deployed for the first time this evening, this is beautiful. It's just an extra couple of laps where the pressure's going to be off and they can stay at the head of this field. Zach Ratway White already back to third. Big mover early on. Dylan Shepherd up to 5th. Damon Woods 3 positions gained up to 7th. He got by Reece Wakefield just before we went yellow. Dean Mackay and Seth Brown make up the top 10. Trouble for Rick Kuznetsov. Game changer as far as his championship aspirations are concerned. He was tied on points with Zach Kerr, and he was well clear of Marino Morella coming into this round. But yes, he can say goodbye to third place if things stay as they are for Kerr this evening at Mount Panorama Bathurst. Fastest lap of the race, 2:02.133 for Zach Kerr, who leads the field, or will have control of the field, I should say, when the safety car returns to pit lane. Let's have a look at the OG Gear replay, Jake.
Right, Reece Wakefield here goes to the outside, so he tries to bump first and then looks to come across the fence. I think that's a case of Rick Kuznetsov feels he's been bumped, pushed, he's going to move across, and if you start moving your line just before the braking zone like that, you are asking for trouble with a car that close behind you making contact. Yes, Reece Wakefield should be lifting out at that point, but Rick Kuznetsov is asking to be turned into the turn 2 wall, and I think Reece Wakefield only politely obliged.
That's a fair way of looking at it. It's very diplomatic of you, Jake. No, it's one of those situations where he's there, and then all of a sudden there's that brief overlap, and yeah, unfortunately something had to give. 2 go in, 1 comes out. It's very rare in that situation where both of you get away with it. Sometimes both of you end up paying the price. That wasn't to be on this occasion, but yes, it'll be interesting to see how race control views that incident, as you say, Reece Wakefield only willingly obliging, but again, that inner team thing, it's been a storyline all night. Firstly, it was Eclipse versus OPR in race 1. Now it's Vermilion versus OPR in race 2. I want to come back and cover off, just before I forget, mate, the point that I wanted to make at the start of the night. I was talking about the special nature of Mount Panorama and the fact that it is public road. We only have licence in the real world to use it 4 times a year for circuit racing events, and we do so at the moment, 5 times a year, but at the moment it's only 4. It's going back to 5 next year, 4 of which are racing events, and then you've got the super sprint regularity that is the Bathurst Challenge. I love the novelty of that in the sense that it doesn't lose its appeal, A, because it's one of the most brilliantly renowned circuits in world motorsport, but secondly because we only get to use it so very rarely in every calendar year. And conversely, when we have a look at its impact and its place in the sim racing world, you look at how Mount Panorama fits into the schedule. We can be at times accused of using some circuits too often. Bathurst doesn't cut the mustard there. It is, as the safety car pulls away, so I'll shut up in a minute and let you take us back to green. We don't do that with Mount Panorama. We save it for special occasions like Bathurst Week, like grand finals, etc. So just like the real world, we don't stretch the friendship of it in the sim world either. We just take full advantage and enjoy every moment of it when we do get the chance to come here.
Yeah, it's only special if you find yourself going only a few times a year. It's not like the case that you run out Duez in cycling every year. It's not the case that, you know, you jump out and say every race or every match of football should be taken out over at Wembley Stadium. It is that sort of level of what we are setting up with. And Zach Kerr realises that this is where sim racing affords that luxury, because in theory, you can come here anytime you like here on iRacing and go and practice this and get up to a level, and this is going to be a huge boon for those at the front. They only got 1 lap under the safety car here, and Zach Kerr has gone incredibly early there at the chase. He wants a big old jump to get through. Now, you can't make the pass until you cross the start-finish line, and look at them. You've already got cars there in the back weaving there. A couple of Porsches sort of in and around Seth Brown, Sam Muir, Ben Pedersen. As we get ourselves back going, Muir immediately is going to have to throw defence here on this restart, because Benny is going to that outside line trying to make it work, and he doesn't get it.
And then he's in the grass as well. Up mountain straight we go. Zach Ratway White making moves early. Straight by Ewan Baker on the outside to second. We're 2 and 3 wide further back. Look at this. Dean Mackay's got his hands full in the battle for 10th at the moment. Trying to get by on the inside of Seth Brown. Pedersen, Brown in the wall. Pedersen takes full advantage of that. He goes up into position number 10. Takes O'Reilly, Muir and Lawford with him.
And Miles Burgess pushed into the wall there by Angus Lawford. It's pretty much a who's who free-for-all out there. 3 wide on the exit, then as Brown limps around there with Byron Pearce going through. He gets loose, and that's going to set Lawford. Here comes Travis McLeod. Bang, they're in the wall. Track is going to end up being jammed.
Well, there's the big one of the night, ladies and gentlemen. 2 cars in the wall. Seth Brown getting left behind. He'll turn it around and get it out of there, but he's right at the back of the pack, and he's got Lewis Greathead for company as well. Very unfortunate for both men. Cameron McLeod with a mechanical meatball flag. So too Zach Hanlon. So too Sebastian Varndell, Seth Brown. So a very damaging lap for so many, Jake.
It is, and this is going to come back to bite people. There are 2 ways of thought you can take this race, as we are currently green at the moment. You either assume this races, you go out there and get what you want and try and make the best of it. Safety car gets deployed, no shocks about that, so Damon Woods has to roll out of trying to make that overtake. You either go for the win or you think about the championship, and I don't think there's many people thinking about the championship tonight.
Because it's Bathurst. Exactly. Win it or bin it. That's the mentality when you come here, because a win at Bathurst is such a novelty. It's a rarity. Everybody looks at that as it's their grand final, essentially. You win that, it's as, that is a very ugly incident. But even yet, more clouts on the way through, collateral damage and all that on the OG gear replay. I'm just wondering which driver wasn't able to drive away from the scene of the crime there, because there were 2 or 3 of them really crunched up. We'll find out in a moment when we drive past it behind the safety car. Seth Brown remains parked at the moment. Thank you, boys. The intensity, I think the mentality of the championship thinking has gone out the window, mate, purely because it's Bathurst. You win here, everybody remembers who wins at Bathurst. They don't always remember the championship. They don't always remember the other rounds along the way, and how it contributes to the bigger picture of where you finish in the championship. But because it's Bathurst, because it's one of the staples of the calendar and one of the grand signature circuits, revered circuits in world motorsport, everybody wants to win here. Just to say, I rose to the top of the summit. I stood at the top of the mountain.
Exactly. So Zach Hanlon in the pits. Cameron McLeod is in. We've got Luke Swan, who is in, as well as Scott Rankin, and we will also have lost Sebastian Varndell out of this race as well. So that is 5 cars then that are in trouble, along with Rick Kuznetsov making 6, and we are separating them quickly. Let's have another look at what the incident was, because this was Dylan Shepherd and then trying to work through this. The lunge down inside of Seth Brown. It's the pinch and squeeze. We talk about it at turn 2. It's such a late apex that you're fighting to get to the inside. And look at that bounce between Lawford and Burgess.
Yeah. How it didn't come to blows before the top of the mountain is beyond me. Look at that. They tried to wreck at the cutting. And Brown was a sitting duck at this point, unfortunately. That car very unhappy. And unfortunately, once you're on the outside there, you're asking for trouble when the cars are spinning and the momentum is taking them to the left-hand side. So a couple of lucky escapees in all of that. But yes, as we've said, Harry Lawrence now also appears as though he's dropped down into pit lane. Luke Swan's come back out. Sebastian Varndell, Cameron McLeod, Zach Hanlon, Seth Brown, all there. And remember, if you're new to the Moza Porsche Pro Invitational Series, ladies and gentlemen, no fast repairs waiting for these guys. They've got no get-out-of-jail-free card awaiting them in pit lane. So once they've got that mechanical meatball, they're tethered to their pit box until such time as that car is in a repaired state good enough to take it back out, A, clear the mechanical black flag, and B, go back out on the racetrack. Go for it, Jake.
And worse, Harry Lawrence, the man on the bubble for a place 20th in the championship, has just had his connection drop. He's lucky that they're under safety car conditions, but this has put him well behind the 8 ball, and he'll be rushing to get the car back with the tow time from the garage to get back out and racing again. So it's going to be a real hurt for him in terms of trying to get back out and racing once more. Zach Kerr sits in control of this field, and boy, is he giving them a weight, Zach.
Indeed he is. So last time round he went remarkably early on the exit of the chase. This time round, tippy towing everybody along. Harry Lawrence won't be minding that. He'll be hoping to get back out there and then be hoping for another safety car so he can come around and join back onto the back of the train. But that's disastrous for him. When does Kerr pull the trigger this time round? What can Ray White do from second? And how long can Kerr withstand the pressure? He's led all 5 laps so far. Let's go.
Absolutely. Does he launch at the same place? He absolutely does. Zach pulling away from Zach, as Zach just mentioned there in the commentary box with us. Can Zach catch Zach? That's the next question that has to be asked. The answer's no. Over towards Murray's, but we'll get another lap then on to play. Lap 6 here of 17 at Mount Panorama. Bathurst, Ewan Baker third. Tice Hodge in fourth. Good to have some names that are other than Zach for a little moment.
Correct.
There. With,
yes.
Got the likes of Damon Woods then. And a little look in at turn 1. Benny Pedersen again trying to find a way through, this time on Dean Mackay.
The point was made that they're all spelled differently. Zach Kerr and Zach Ray White, absolutely, but Kerr, Hanlon and Caven are all spelled the same. Spinner at the back, that's Angus Lawson. So, and it's very rare, I must say, as one with the lesser-known ZAK spelling, it's very rare to have 3 of us in the one server. Me in the commentary box and 2 of them on the track.
Yeah, it's always difficult, it's always different, and then there's going to be moves happening. Morella dropping back places as through goes the likes then of Damon Woods to go and get by, and there is going to be black orange candle flags that are out there here for certain drivers. They're climbing up the crest. Jordan McLeod, he's one of them still, so he's now going to have to come back to pick third there for the damage.
God.
Massive incident at the Mount.
Massive crash at the top of the mountain, but lucky it wasn't bigger, to be fair. It was a monumental Code moment. And then look at this, it's on at the top as well. Will we all get through? The S's and the Dipper in one piece? No! Patterson in the wall! Big time at the mountain! Oh my goodness, that's on the run to the S's and the Dipper.
Yeah, they're going to have to call a safety car for this. He is right
Number
over
3.
the circuit there, and you can see, look, they're all going to jump through. It would be a third, but he does actually drive it away, so it will mean there will be no need for a safety car. Harry Lawrence has been given permission to go. We've got a lot to dissect. Angus Lawford, all on his very lonesome on the inside curb. How often do you see that at turn 1?
Very, very seldomly. Zach Ratway-White gets by Zach Kerr. Kerr tries to respond on the outside of the run down to Murray's corner. Ratway-White says, no, thank you. I'm back where I want to be, where I need to be, with a view to trying to reel in the deficit to Damon Woods in this championship. That's how we got it done. Cleanly, calmly, and precisely.
Straight down the inside and no argument from it there. Zach Ratway-White leads here against the likes of Zach Kerr. And you look back here at Damon Woods. He's in 6th and he's got to get by Dylan Shepherd here. He's carrying with him Morella, Wakefield, Mackay in this group as they climb the crest over towards Griffin's Mount at turn 2. The Griffin's Bend. Here comes the case off. The next right-hander, and now you're settling down, hoping that you can start driving in, getting a rhythm out there in this race. And already you see here on this second lap after the restart how much certain areas of the pack are springing out.
Indeed. So Damon Woods struggling to work his way forward, but it gets more increasingly difficult the further we get into this race in that stop-start rhythm. 1 lap on, 1 lap behind the safety car, 1 lap on, 1 lap behind the safety car. So Damon Woods now needs to try and take full advantage of the fact that we've got a little slight extension, green flag period here, trouble at the top. That was good evasive action. Damon, that was Byron Pierce's incident to the outside, but obviously he was very lucky that he didn't bounce back into the racetrack, into the line of the oncoming cars. Otherwise, that would have been safety car number 3. Dylan Shepherd is sitting 5th at the moment. Damon Woods is right there, nipping at his heels. Marino Morella, Reese Wakefield as well, and then Dean Mackay. So will Woodsy be able to find a way through on Shep? He's in the position to set it up, Jake. Keep your eyes on the exit of the chase.
Oh, he's all over him. He's monstering him. Big defensive block being thrown, and he still rolls in around the outside. That's insane from Damon Woods. Dylan Shepherd did everything defensively correct, and ultimately Dylan Shepherd will look out of his mirror as he lunges back for the inside at Murray's and goes, no, he's just mugged him.
Yeah, absolutely mugged him. And really, that is why Damon Woods is doing what Damon Woods does, and absolutely tearing this championship to shreds at the moment. Completely and utterly dominant and so skilled. There aren't too many people that back themselves. I mean, especially on only lap 8 of 17, lap 7 of 17 as it was at the time. Maybe if that was lap 17, you'd have a crack. But Damon Woods says, no, lap 7, and now... Oh, Shep! Bang! Into the wall! There goes Marino Morella! Escorted by Dylan Shepherd at Griffins.
How many times have we seen the OPR Gamma Flare cars get their elbows out at turn 2? He is so upset, is Marino Morella right now, and that 77 is going to have to find a way to drive himself back in a line and say, look, my race is still going to be able to go on. They bind themselves together on circuit now, but that is a no-no with how little there was between each other to go through, and race control will have a big look at that.
Yeah, and Morella, let's wait and see. I think he's been able to get back going, but he has got a mechanic. He struggled to get back going. Oh, don't tell me he's going to get stuck. He's beached it on the ripple strip, hasn't he? No, he got it off. Thank goodness for that. So we might have just avoided safety car number 3 for the second time, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan Jones on the comeback trial, 15th under pressure from Stephen McCartan. They're chasing Stuart Ellis. But Marino, unsurprisingly, Jake, the latest to be issued a mechanical meatball. Let's go and get that sorted in pit lane flag.
Wow, that is just a case of what a horrible day at the office you're going to have to deal with now, as Shepherd then looks at Reese Wakefield, who is there just in front, running through the right, the left and the right over at the chase. The gap, Zach Ratway-White He's already 2 seconds down the road, Zach, from Zach Kerr here. So Kerr right now is doing well, but Damon Woods is going to be absolutely chopping it a bit. Here's another look. Goes to the right, tries to sell the dummy back to the left. Morella, you're never alongside. You're never alongside.
No. Correct. In saying that, how often do we go through there 2x2? So, yes, absolutely. At that point in time, Morella had every right to swing across and close the door, but did he do so too late in the piece? So there's a couple of different things to look at there from race control standpoint, but I absolutely agree with what you're saying. At not one point was there an overlap between those cars of any sort. Not yet anyway. So, yeah, good luck race control with that one. This is why I'm in here and not in there. I don't envy them in the slightest at this particular point in time. Have a look at them on the absolute ragged edge across the top of the mountain. Commitment Plus skirting ever so closely to the depths of despair with how close they're driving towards that concrete wall. Across the top of the mountain we go. Tommy Bewley in 11th, Sam Muir 12th. This has been 10th. This has been a very good recovery from Tommy Bewley, and puts the pressure on Muir as they head towards the elbow once more. Zach Ratway-White, just focus on that for a moment. Probably looking at a feature race win at this point. I don't want to put the marker on him, but he's as good as home if he can just keep focused on the task at hand and not put a foot wrong. They will not be reeling that in at this particular point. Not even Damon Woods. Damon's still got to get by Ewan Baker and Zach Kerr yet. So I think the best the championship leader can hope for is second, but he'll still extend the championship lead tonight anyway.
Tom Bewley has this ornate habit of making places up in second and third races of nights. I mean, we saw what he did at the Red Bull Ring, how he was absolutely marauding through the order. Tom Bewley, I think he knows when chips are down, he realises I've just got to go out there, be aggro and get everything I can. And now, speaking of which, Damon Woods with the fastest lap check mark next to his name, even while passing Tice Hodge on that last lap, now has got to find a way by Braveheart here. Ewan Baker realises he's got to turn around. Hold! Now, Damon Woods, you can start gallivanting over Hadrian's Wall.
Have a look at that. Still, the overtake at the chase could well go down as the move of the season so far. That was extraordinary. That was superhuman, freakish sort of stuff from Damon Woods, but that equally as impressive. Down on the inside, time to run perfectly wide with the OPR entry. And now we go back to Scotty Rankin. Hey, good to see our commentary colleague, especially with this weekend in mind, now inside the top 20, sitting there in 18th. A good move forward so far, up 5 spots, getting his first look inside the top 20 tonight. And let's hope he can continue to push forward from there. Ryan Jones 2 ahead of him, Jet Van Hammett the next target, but the problem is that is a 2.9 second deficit that he's got.
Look at Scott Rankin's view of what he's got and how much information he's constantly got. So you can see him there on the top left. He's looking at where everyone is. He's looking at the likes of, okay, what's my strategy? My blipping points out there as I look to jam through the brakes. He's looking at the likes of his tyre pressures. That's what the iRacing black box relative is on the bottom right corner of his screen. Critically, he wants to know what tyre pressures are doing.
Yeah, and tyre pressures and grip, both talking points around here. I mean, when you think about tyre wear, maybe not necessarily as big a talking point as it would be if this was a longer race. Remember, there was a big redraft of the calendar earlier in the year. We were talking about having longer races at each round. We've gone for the sprint format, which I think has been well received and worked very well. So tyre wear, not as much of a talking point, particularly in the first race, but potentially as we get towards like 15, 16, 17, they might start to show a little bit of age.
They might do, and that's why you've got to protect the tyres when you're running any distance of around half an hour or more. You often hear, and I hear a lot in the Porsche Esports Super Cup regionals, that it's all about tyre wear. It's all about saving tyre, giving yourself a chance. A little scratch there for Jacob O'Reilly here. I think he's got the sim racing itch right now to try and get up to 8th place. He's about 1.5 seconds behind of that at the moment. Angus Lawford, by comparison here, all on his very lonesome in 22nd position, looking a very, I would say, glum figure at the moment on his own.
Yep. Although that being said, maybe being, I mean, obviously the results fallen by the wayside, and that'll be a point of frustration for him, but maybe being on your lonesome around here based on what we've seen so far, Jake, is the safest bet. You will get a little bit bored. You will get a little bit lonely going through the motions to see the checkered flag and bank the championship points. But at least you're out of harm's way and out of getting caught up, out of the potential threat of being caught up in somebody else's garbage. Meanwhile, Wilku's find his way to the tail end of the car in second, Zach Kerr. It is Damon Woods looking to displace the guy that started this race on pole. And I dare say, Kerr's in real strife when we get to the bottom of the chase. In fact, he gets done before.
Yeah, over the top of the crash. Damon Woods has got the clearance then. Doesn't even need it. Moves across to take the most amount of road. And he will know just exactly how much clearance he's got to go and make that happen. It's the mark of someone who has driven for practically anywhere and everywhere he thinks. He's not just quick in a Porsche, he's quick in GT3 circles. He's quick everywhere that he thinks, and these two, 1 and 2, out there at the moment. And Zach Rattray White, well, you can tell how hard he's been running right now. His hair right now must be looking like a wet noodle bowl.
3.4 seconds, right? Just remember that number. 6 laps to go. It would be a superhuman effort if Damon Woods was to reel in that deficit. If you're Zach Rattray White, you've got your fingers crossed that the field behaves itself, and we don't have the late race interference presented by the deployment of the safety car. Down the inside, Tice Hodge on Ewan Baker couldn't get it done, and also under pressure from Reece Wakefield at this particular point in time. Things have settled down. We're getting to the business end. Rattray White and Woods back where they started the night, at the top of the summit.
Well, up comes the climb, and this is where I think Ewan Baker realises he's going to have to be uber defensive here in this one, because he turns around and sees Tyson and Reece Wakefield and Dylan Shepherd and Dean Mackay and Jacob O'Reilly wanting to get on as well. That is a marauding OPR Gamma Flare train that's trying to find its way up into the top 5, and Ewan Baker right now, I think he's doing a really good job of just building margin where he needs to. Where he needs to is down the hill here, and it's very difficult to find time down the hill, but once you find an extra 10, boy does it give you confidence.
Exactly, and that's the other point we wanted to make. Last time around, you got a really good visual illustration of just how big the slipstream advantage and the aerodynamic effect is here at Mount Panorama. That toe is off the chart good for Damon Woods to have got the job done before they even got to the kink at the end of Conrod. Reece Wakefield at the moment sitting there 6th at the moment. The further back you are in that train, though, the harder it is to work your way forward because the train is so long, so you've got to try and chip away at it in small installments, one at a time. But in doing that, you run the risk of losing contact with the cars in front as well. So fine line between pleasure and pain as they make their way up Mountain Straight once more. You're looking at the top of the screen, and the blue box, the purple box, I should say, for, geez, I just went colourblind for a moment, didn't I? For Zach Rattray White's nemesis in this championship title fight, Damon Woods. Fastest lap of the race. To give context to the audience at home, Rattray White, best lap so far, 201.042. Last time around, 201.531. Damon Woods, 2 minutes, .656, and has shaved the deficit to 2.4. So
that's
this is
not a shame. That's not a shame. That's a lot. As Wakefield runs wide, then Shepherd runs wide, and then that's going to be both of them jumping back through after they decide they want to play a bit of hot spot there. So that's how close they're trying to run to the barriers. That wasn't a shave of time there, Zach. That was getting the butcher's knife and carving away at that gap. Almost a second on that last lap.
Yeah. He's taken all the fat off it and then some, hasn't he? I mean, he's put himself now in the zone to potentially go out and still find a way to win this race. He's going to have to find a way by Rattray White, and he's going to have to try and clear 2.3 seconds in 3.5 laps. But if anyone can do it, Damon's proven that he can. He was the only one sub 2 minutes in practice. He set the fastest time in qualifying. He dominated race 1. second in race 2, has been a regular prominent finishing position for him in the second race of the night, but he is still on track to do the double. The margin now 2.3 as we hit the chase at the end of, where are we now, lap 13, so 4 to go this time by the line. We start lap 14, so 24.852 kilometres. If you don't mind the maths on the hop, skip and jump there, if I've got that wrong, apologies. Maths is not my strong point, but that's how much time Damon Woods has, and that's how much distance Damon Woods has to try and clear 2.256 seconds.
Well, he's got to find about 0.6 a lap. 0.3 on that last lap doesn't cut it because Zach Rattray White responded with a 2:01.0. Baker under threat. This is a lovely slow-mo of Tyce Hodges. He goes side by side in the bottom corner. Look at the mirror. Boing! Off goes the mirror. So he can't see out the left side anymore. And what's behind him? And why would he? He's trying to look at charge in front, all over the back of Baker, trying to get up and under at the cutting. Baker covers off the line, and suddenly we're back to 5 again in this group, and now 6.
Something has to give here. You just get the feeling that this is going to end in tears. Across the top we go. More contact with the wall on the left-hand side. Up to the Great, and then up to McPhillamy. Take the left-hand curve, sweeping down onto Skyline, across the ripple strip. You don't want to get too greedy with that. Now the S is the dip of the one-line groove. The next time anyone's going to have a look is Forest Elbow. If not, all roads lead to Conrod. And this has been a remarkable job from Ewan Baker to hold on to fourth for as long as he's been able to do so. Can he continue to keep Tyce Hodge at bay?
Well, Tyce is having a round of rounds at the moment, and boy, does he need so. He's 16th in the championship. This will massively boost his resolve out there. He gets a lovely run, making his way over towards the chase, and Baker leaves him the room, tries to be better on the brakes around the outside, and Tyce commands that inside line, takes the spot back away, and says, I am now fourth here in this race. He'll love it. Baker, and then you got Wakefield, Mackay and Shepherd all there in a line. O'Reilly's there, and also Mr. I'm on a single monitor for the first time in my life, Tom Bewley.
and you know what? He's quickly adapted to it, hasn't he? It's been a very nice performance from Tommy Bewley, particularly the second race. Disappointment race 1, from 21st to 10th, up 11 spots in this second race, running along beautifully right now. Finally hitting his straps, finally getting comfortable. A little bit too late in the piece. He would have been wishing for a third race tonight, I'm sure. But got to make do in the circumstances with that situation. And hopefully when we get to the next round of the series, which is only a fortnight away, he will be back in familiar surroundings and ready to send it once more. Ewan Baker, 5th at the moment. Can he hold a top 5? Reece Wakefield will have something to say about that. Geez, he was impressive in qualifying. Reece Wakefield only up 3 spots so far. Good result in race 1 with the second. We'd love a top 5 finish to complement that. Bang! They're sliding. They're scraping the wall. They are on the absolute limit here. Every lap is a qualifying lap for these guys at the moment.
Don't tell me they're not trying. They are, and they're trying to do everything they can that gets them through. Let's go through. Hanlon over the top of the hill there. He's in the wall on the side there. So he's just had a massive spin going over the McPhillamy curve, and that is so close to the circuit this late on. I don't think they could throw a safety car for how late it is.
They could, because they'd have 1 lap to clear it, and we'd have a 1 lap shootout. But I'm not sure they will. I'm not sure they'd be willing to potentially put race control at risk of doing overtime in the paperwork department. Bang, into the wall. It was a light moment for Hanlon. Hopefully he's been able to reverse it out of there and get back going. Rattray White, Woods, Kerr, Hodge, Baker, Wakefield, and just 2 laps to go.
Yeah, so he can drive it away, and so he will be clawing his way down the field. So we're going to be staying green with 2 laps to go. Here, the gap 1.6 at the front of the field is just being expertly managed now by Zach Rattray White. But this is the talk of expertly having to manage it. Wakefield looking for a run here on Ewan Baker as they go over through Hell's Corner, and now climb the mountain straight to Griffin's Bend. That's going to be the next thing that you've got to see. It was a real disconnect that we're hearing from James Prince out there. So Hadley in a world of trouble as far as that one is set. Now here comes a look, then a thought of it to the inside by Wakefield, covered at the 11th hour, then by Ewan Baker, who's just masterfully planting the car with the damaged rear wing as and where it belongs.
Oh, up on the outside. That's hairy territory for Wakefield, but that's how desperate he is to try and find a way by Ewan Baker at the moment, who's driven beautifully. The defence has been absolutely brilliant from him to try and snare a top 5 finishing position here. Going to have to work hard to keep that top 5 in his grasp in this final lap and a half. But if he doesn't put a foot wrong, it's already been well documented and proven that Wakefield's going to struggle to find a way through. Can Dean Mackay, as his teammate, offer some sort of assistance? Dylan Shepard's boxed in there as well. And Jacob O'Reilly in 9th. The lead is now only 1.1 for Zach Ratway-White as they head towards the white flag.
This is turning itself into an absolute barn burner of a finish here. You've got a massive group 4th on back that's all got to try and sort themselves out. The race lead still not decided. It depends on how Damon Woods wants to break the spirit of Zach Rattray-White in this championship, or whether he'll let him or toss him a bone. There goes Tom Bewley through. He's going to pick up another position then as he dispatches of Jacob O'Reilly. Barney waves the white flag. Let's go. It's 2 Barneys there waving white flags there on the left-hand side, right-hand side of the screen. But it's now 1 second here for Damon Woods, and he is absolutely flying. A 2-minute 0.5 fastest lap of the race. He's been biding his time, and he's looking for a way to chase down here at the mountain. He knows how important it is. Ewan Baker's gone heavily defensive on the right-hand side. Reece Wakefield now might get a shot of a run here going up into turn 2. He'll now look to the outside, trying to pick this one up and get it sorted. And now, can Ewan Baker do anything about it? No is the answer as it's around the outside. Still, he'll get drive off the exit. He's got to go the long way around the cutting, which is very tough to do. He's got to pinch on the inside. He doesn't get it. Wakefield's got it covered, and he gets back in line and just about staves off any run from Dean Mackay. No freight trains here, my friend. He's trying to go over the top of the mountain, 9/10 of a second over at Skyline, and now it's just got to be your mark. Trouble for the 43. Shet finds himself down the order now and dropping like a stone. That was not what he wanted. It was a spin all on his own as he caught the mountain out there over going through the mount. And now he'll drop down the hill, knowing how tough it's going to be. Still, it's 9/10 of a second. It's one braking zone that needs to be caught. Damon Woods is not going to reel 8/10 on this straight, but boy, is he going to give Zach Rattray-White something to think about. I think he wished that this would be 140 kilometres long instead of 105, because he looks around at Zach Rattray-White, who I think is just going to have the legs through the chase, is just going to have the legs over to Murray's corner, and he will just say in that number 17, I'm not done. I'm going to try and confirm second in the championship and make sure I've got something when you yield. Zach Rattray-White wins at a mountain.
So 1 apiece again. How many times has this pair done that throughout the course of the season? Magnificent. Phenomenal from Zach Rattray-White. As soon as he got clear air, he took off. He gave himself the buffer to work with. And had it been, as you say, as subtle as a sledgehammer that dig there, Jake, but I liked it, and I'm all for it. Had it been an extra 35 kilometres, he would have been in a world of hurt with Damon Woods charging home relentlessly, and an extraordinary good touch. The move of the night to get himself clear of the pack in the first place, and second is still good enough for him to claim the round honours and put himself further ahead in the points race. Credit to Zach Kerr, let's be perfectly honest, to get 10th in the opener and then hold in the invert, convert to the point where you only lose 2 spots, and it is to the form men of this title race at the moment. That's a big win for him, and he broke well clear. Similar to Pat as what we saw in race 1, quite frankly. Kerr broke well clear, 5.7 of Tice Hodge in the end, who did well to eventually hold off Reece Wakefield, Dean Mackay. And unfortunately for Ewan Baker, that chance to snare a top 5 let go with the 2 OPR boys getting by him on the final lap. Tommy Bewley, 13 positions gained. Well played. That is not a bad effort considering all the circumstances he detailed before we got going there. In 8th position, certainly makes up for the disappointment of race 1. And then Jacob O'Reilly, Sam Muir, and Sam Chapman was on the cusp of the 10 in the end, having got by Stephen McCartan, Miles Burgess, Dylan Shepherd on the run home. And Stewie Ellis made up the top 15. Gee, strong OPR presence in that top 15, Jake. But the night belongs to Ratway White and Woods yet again. I can't say I'm surprised.
You get the feeling that I think that Zach Rattray White can probably understand Jonas Vingegaard's frustrations in cycling at Tadej Pogacar the way Damon Woods goes out there and gets everything that he's got. It's a Pyrrhic victory for Zach Rattray White as he wins here by 7/10 because he knows that the championship is continuing to fall away. Damon Woods proving just how special of a talent he is there in the number 56. Zach Kerr then is in 3rd with Ty Hodge finishing 4th ahead of a slew of cars which includes Reece Wakefield, Dean Mackay, Ewan Baker there and Tom Bewley all the way up into 8th place. That's why he's top 10 in the championship. Jacob O'Reilly ends up in 9th, putting 3 Vermilion cars in the top 10 with 9.5 Sam Muir rounding out the top 10 in result. Over the page where you got Sam Chapman then followed by 4 OPR Gamma Flare cars which involves Stephen McCartan, Miles Burgess, Dylan Shepherd and Stuart Ellis. Ryan Jones, good drive from him up to 16th ahead of a well-recovered Jed Van Hemert after his dramas in the opening race of the night. He's 17th with Lewis Greathead and Scott Rankin 18th and 19th and Luke Swan rounding out your top 20. It would be only 25 finishing on the lead lap with Pat Klein and Angus Lawford having their issues that dropped them back. Jordan Malcolm, Ben Pedersen and then Harry Lawrence with the drop was still able to stay on the leading lap with a massive thank you going to the safety car that came out when he dropped. Zach Hanlon 3 laps down as well as Jared McLeod with the likes of Marina Morella, Byron Pierce and Sebastian Varndell then all finding retirements I should say, as well as Cameron McLeod, Seth Brown and Rick Kuznetsov, Josh Perwin and Antal Sabo ultimately take one look at today and say we are going to be non-starters here in this round. Well, it's only fitting that we go and talk to someone who is walking at this moment in time well on his way towards a championship. Damon Woods then with a 1st and a 2nd here tonight. And Damon, unfortunately, you just ran out of laps. You had pace for days in that big long race, but those 3 safety cars, I think, or 2 safety cars, I should say, really chopped up your opportunity to have time to go out there and push for it.
Yeah, it was a little bit unfortunate. I think I kind of didn't do a good enough job getting through the traffic as well, which definitely hurt. Maybe having an extra 2 laps to hunt Zach down at the end, but to be honest, I wouldn't have gone for anything egregious at the end. So there's really no need for me to do anything stupid. I knew I was outscoring him for the round anyway, so yeah, it would have been nice to at least have a bit of a scrap with him, but yeah, the pace was really good and I can't really complain too much.
Right, we need to talk about your pass on Dylan Shepherd because we've got that marked down as move of the season so far. He has come across at the chase, he's blocked with everything that he's got, and you've just rolled it in and around him as if, he's a club driver and you're out there showing what it's all about. So talk us through that moment and how good that felt.
Yeah, look, I saw Shep getting on the block pretty early in the lap and I knew it was going to be quite hard to get past with a conventional overtake. And I had a good enough run going down Conrad that I was like, if he gives me enough room, I'll just throw it up the inside. And I saw him just pitch it to the left, so I was like, all right, we'll just go to the outside. And I knew the braking performance was going to be pretty good. SCCR, I think he checked up quite a lot on the inside, expecting me to kind of go with him, and then he could try and run me wide on the exit. But yeah, I just sent it and carried enough momentum that, yeah, I pretty much cleared him before I got to the corner, which was pretty gnarly. But yeah, it's not every day you get to send around the outside of the chase and make it happen.
It very much isn't. You are walking well on your way towards the championship. Now, how does Phillip Island look to put that together? Of course, a lot of people know Phillip Island very well, but having an open circuit like that, maybe a style of circuit that maybe you can take some parallel from and say, right, I feel very confident heading there in 2 weeks' time?
Well, I mean, Phillip Island's the one track in real life where I've absolutely loved. I've been lucky enough to grab a race win and chuck it on pole in Formula Ford there. So, yeah, it's for me one of my favorite tracks, and I've also done probably the most amount of laps there out of any track I've been to in Australia. So, I mean, yeah, I think we should be pretty good. We just got to tune the car up, and I think by the end we should be well on the money.
Excellent stuff. Well on your way with a wonderful first and second here at the mountain. Damon Wood, what does he not do that is incorrect? He is very much a case of sim racing's Australian messiah at this moment in time. But for Zach Cabin, then it's going to be a case then of the Zach chat that's going to go through, because Zach, you've got Zach.
Telepathically, there must be some sort of communication going on that I'm not aware of, because I was going to say the exact same thing. Jake and I said nothing about it to you before welcoming in Zach Ratway-Wyatt, and we've got Zach Kerr on the way as well. But yes, welcome to Zach Chat as part of the post-race show, round 7 of the Moza Racing Porsche Invitational. Hey, Mr. Ratway-Wyatt, good evening to you. Let's talk race 1 firstly. You must have felt like a bit of a punching bag there at one point, because you just couldn't get a run forward. You couldn't get any sort of momentum about this. And it all started with Wakefield getting up on the inside. At what point did you just try and concede defeat there and consolidate and bring it home just to ensure that you got home cleanly, mate?
I think the Wakefield incident probably was a little unnecessary. I gave him room and he kind of just doored me wide, which I thought was pretty rude. But the rest of the incidents were all my fault, so I don't really have anyone else to blame for them. Just wasn't gelling with the car at all. It was just probably can't say what I think of it right now, to be honest. Yeah, I just don't like the car at all. It's just a bag of dick, really. To put it nicely, it's terrible at pretty much every track unless it's a gazillion meters wide and flat.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that the second race went a little better. I think the fact I fumbled in race 1 and put myself down the back was probably the reason why I went so well in race 2. Kind of put me towards the front and could pick off cars easier and whatnot. So obviously Damon didn't have any issues. He
no.
makes it look easy, as he always does. He's a million miles an hour. He's so quick. So I'm a bit lost on how to get to his level at the moment.
Mate, I can sympathise, and I think a lot of people at home can as well. We can sense the frustration and the emotion in what you're saying here, and we're hearing it. I want to tidy up a couple of things here, though, on the way through, and I hope the boys don't mind me doing this. We've got Zach Kerr standing by as well, so Zach Chat is twofold tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and we're looking forward to that. But I'm interested to hear you say that, and to quote you, the car's a bag of dick. Because, and it's all right, we're past 7:30 on the West Coast, so we're good with regards to PG classifications and that sort of stuff. The reality of the matter is, though, I get the feeling that that's an ongoing sense of frustration being felt right across the cohort at the moment, mate. And I think that those guys that are below you in the field would be feeling a little bit better about themselves, knowing that even though you are second in the championship at the moment and have consolidated that tonight, you're feeling the same way. You're continually feeling frustrated by the car. How difficult it is to pump yourself up, psych yourself up, to come and have a drive or something that is frustrating to get behind the wheel of week in, week out.
Well, to be honest, like the frustration isn't coming from this series. It's
no, that's right.
Honestly,
yeah, it's the car.
I think we're a little clear of the field at the moment in this series, but if anyone's familiar with how Pesk is going at the moment, you know, teams like Coena and Redline are making guys like me and Damon look stupid. They're finishing like 13 seconds ahead of us in a half an hour race. That's where the frustration is coming from, because we feel like we're doing really good in this series, but we're getting smoked in everything else. So it's hard to pinpoint what you're doing wrong when everything feels like it's going right. So this series in itself is going fine for us. It's just the outside part.
I get the feeling, so I'll quickly tidy this up, because we'll move to Zach Kerr in a moment, mate. But and I'll put you out of your misery, so to speak. But with regards to Damon, had that been 1 or 2 laps, would you have been able to keep him at bay or not?
I guess we'll never know. That's a that's a question that probably can't be answered. I'm sure he probably would have got past me somehow. That's just what he does. He's just that good. So I probably would have white lined for my life, but yeah, I got lucky that he started like 5 positions behind me. So
Absolutely. Yeah. And obviously it's another race win, mate. And it's another box ticked, and it's good points haul for the round. So, two-part question to finish up with you. Phillip Island, next stop. How do you feel about how you personally will fare around there? Put the car to one side because we know how you feel about that. But you personally, what will you bring to the table in 2 weeks' time? And secondly, I don't want to broach it, but we're at round 7 now, so I kind of sort of have to start heading in this general direction. At what point do you turn your focus to, rather than trying to reel Damon's the deficit to Damon in, trying to secure second in the title and consolidate that?
Look, Phillip Island is probably going to be very much the same as tonight. I think it's just going to be who can maximise the car. I didn't want to talk about it, but I have to. I know Damon's going to be quick, and like you said before, he's pretty much the master of Phillip Island. He's every single time we put laps there, he's a million miles up the road of us compared to even tracks like this. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that goes, but I think second in the championship is feasible. I think Damon's out of reach. Really, realistically, he's gone. And I think we have such a gap on the rest of the field at the moment that even just consistent points throughout a round will put me in second.
All right, very nicely done. I know I can sense the frustration, and I feel completely and utterly for you, because it can be very deflating at times. But you've got to psych yourself up again and get ready to rock and roll once more, mate. It is an enormous week. You quickly get the Porsche hat off, put the supercar hat on. All the very best with what's coming up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. We know it's not just a big week for you, but also the team as well. Thanks for having a chat to us.
Thank you.
And I dare say he'll be there when the whips are cracking on Sunday afternoon as well. Just to tidy up one other thing too, when Jake was running through the finishing order there, I think I'm right in saying that we ended up with everyone down to Marino Morella, who was only 4 laps down in the end, being able to be classified on 75% race distance as well, guys. Important to note from the guys taking a small chunk of championship points away from that second race. Righto, let's continue Zach Chat 2.0 now. And Zach with the same spelling. Hello, Zach Kerr. Great to have you in here. And flying the flag for the Vermilion Esports stable. The guys, mixed bag of fortunes for your team tonight, but you must have been delighted, A, with the invert pole, and then B, how you were able to so beautifully consolidate that and convert that, take that opportunity and make the most of it and bring it home. Only losing out to the 2 form men of the championship over the course of 17 frantic laps, mate. Nicely done. Welcome to the podium.
Yeah, thank you. Pretty poor qualifying on my behalf. I think I could have maximised a bit more than that. I in the sprint race took it as I could, try and get the invert pole, which I managed to get, and then having that opportunity to start off the pole, I think with those 2 behind me, they have such a big pace advantage over the field that I kind of was aiming for third all along, and it was just maximising what I could to stay there.
You mentioned qualifying. Let me start there. Were you feeling the pinch with regards to that tonight? I highlighted at the start of the broadcast that we had a 20-minute qualifying session as per usual, but then we launched into a 40-kilometre 7-lap race, the shortest race on the calendar, which I felt that placed more onus, more importance on qualifying, and it would seem that would be the case.
Qualifying was just far more important here than most of the other tracks. It's obviously far harder to pass here than the majority of the other tracks, so a big emphasis was on qualifying, which I wasn't able to perform the best I could.
But at least you're able to chase your tail well. As you say, you raced well, you secured the invert pole, and then you led for a good 5, 6, maybe even 7 laps, mate, until Zach broke through the shackles and got his way to the front and checked out into the sunset. And then, of course, Damon with one of the moves of the season. There's nothing you can do when he's in that sort of form. But from your standpoint, mate, you must have been loving the fact that all the rubbish was unfolding behind you, neutralises the race, takes the pressure off, keeps you at the front for a little bit longer, and you're able to end up keeping everybody else at bay and taking full advantage of the opportunity to enjoy the clear air and bag a podium.
Oh, 100%. After seeing the chaos that was in the first race, it was actually really nice to be able to be at the front, have a clear track in front of me, and was able to just set my eyes forward and not have to deal with all the carnage of everything going on around me.
How difficult a night was it for the rest of the team, mate? A couple of them with the tail dangling between the legs as they leave here?
It seems like a few of us can't catch a break, but I think we all just need to keep pushing forward and bring some better results towards the end of the season.
Just having a look at the points coming into this round, you were sitting fourth. Rick Kuznetsov, your teammate, was tied on points with you. We know that he's not finished the second race. You'll leapfrog him, all being fair and equal based on maths. You're third in the championship going into the final 5 rounds of the season. What do you got to do to stay there?
I think just hit my marks every single round, try and give the best results I can, and just maximize all the points I can get without crashing or anything.
You may have heard what Zach was saying. Zach Rattray White was saying a few moments ago. Very unhappy with the car itself as a whole. How are you adapting to the challenges? Because it's not lost on anybody that this has been a real head scratcher for so many, the 992.2.
Oh, it's a incredibly challenging car. Those two, as much as they hate it, I think the whole field hates it. So those two were able to maximize it more than everyone else, which a big props to them, because they just show up every single round and have this astonishing pace over everyone.
Big week for the team. You must be looking forward to seeing how the rest of it plays out, and quickly taking for the guys that are lining up Friday, Saturday, Sunday, taking the Porsche hat off, putting the supercar hat on.
Yeah, gotta focus on that now. So gotta readjust myself how to drive a supercar, co-driving for the weekend. So just gotta do my best for that as well.
Just give everybody at home a quick sense of how difficult that is to jump out of one unique car into another. They're polar opposites, aren't they?
Oh, 100%. You go from one that has ABS and traction control to another that has a lot of power and applies the power and drives very differently. So I'm gonna have to take a few days and readjust as best I can.
Porsches, Phillip Island, 2 weeks away. Immediate thoughts on how you're lining up there?
Not a track I've ever touched in a Porsche Cup car, so we'll be going in trying to maximize it the best I can.
All right, very nicely done, mate. Hey, thanks for stopping on by the booth. Well done. Consistency's key to securing end of season results in this title fight, mate. You're third in the points going into the final 5 rounds of the season. Hopefully you can carry on with that. And we look forward to seeing what you bring to the table. Firstly, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and then, of course, in a couple of weeks' time at the Island. Thanks for that.
Yes, have a good one, guys.
And from the 2 Zacks to one more, throwing back to a Jake to wrap things up. It's interesting. That's the first time we've really had everybody, air their disdain for the Porsche. Maybe we need to go and find a one-mate car that everybody likes. So maybe Toyota 86 racing next season, Jake. I'm not sure, but that's one down, and a big 3 days still to come for our supercar boys. And looking forward to the 1,000 Friday, Saturday and Sunday. But it won't take too long for Phillip Island to roll around in a fortnight, and 7:30 Eastern Standard, 7:45 Eastern Standard Time. We should make a note of that. We're not into daylight saving, thankfully, for a couple of months yet. And it's just part of an enormous offering here on the platforms of the Australian Sim Racing Group and the SimSpeed Esports Network, which includes some dirt racing as well, mate.
It absolutely does. I will say this, though. Everybody is confident until someone punches them in the jaw. And I think that's what we're seeing here from how everyone is starting to feel, because everyone is starting to feel that, okay, Damon Woods is punching everyone in the jaw, and then Damon and Zach Rattray White go out over to the Porsche Esports Super Cup and suddenly they get punched in the jaw, and suddenly they don't feel so confident anymore. But confidence is going to be peaking with Eldora that comes up on the 19th of August, and as well, this is Mountain Week for a reason. We will see some amazing racing coming up with, of course, the co-driver clash, which will be coming up on Friday. So that's going to be your first big initiation that comes in after us, with then qualifying and the V8 Vet support race, which we have to note is going old school. We'll get Holdens out there. We will get ourselves so much more amazing stuff that's going to be jumping on forward. And then, of course, the big 161 on Sunday from 11 a.m. AEST. That is going to be an absolute treat for your 1000 weekend schedule here as Mountain Week takes its hold with the Australian Sim Racing Group. Massive thanks to everyone who's brought this show over to you, from Jay Kennedy, who's been on production, Zach Caban, who's been alongside myself, Jake Sperry. This has been an almighty race that we have had here at round 7 at Bathurst. The more things change, the more things seem to stay the same. You know, the case is simple. The Damon Woods Express will keep on rolling until morale improves for everybody else. It's been simply a story of him and everybody else trying to catch him here, and now we turn our attention now to what comes next. And what comes next is quite simple. It's Phillip Island. It's his favourite place in the world. And simply put, everybody else is now on notice, because we've got daylight. Expect chasms in what is 2 weeks' time.